Steve, my good man, how the devil are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm very good, my friend. Very good indeed.
We like that.
Thank you.
We're both good.
You're looking pretty trim with the new haircut going on.
I had to get it taken off. I know I promised Sarah I'd grow mine back while she was growing hers, but that was just annoying me.
Just too much at this point.
Yeah, just got on my nerves. Friday when we were out, I had that hat on. It was just pissing me off. I was like, no, that's going.
So you committed to it straight. I like the speed of the decision making there. You're like, no, this is uncomfortable on the Friday. By Sunday, it was all gone.
Yeah, decisive, mate. You got to be. I've got kids. You have to make second decisions and go with it.
That's fair.
You know, so it's gone.
Good. Fair enough.
And it's feeling much better. Although it's cold now.
Yes, that's fair. It probably was the wrong time of year to do it.
Yeah, grow your hair in winter. Get a nice sort of mop going on.
Yeah, exactly. We'll cut it once at the start of the summer. And then by the time winter comes around, it's pretty warm again.
Yeah. It's quite nice when I shaved it when she lost her hair in the middle of summer. Although I got sunburned, that wasn't so fun.
Oh, did you get sunburned scalp?
Yeah, that hurt, mate.
Ooh.
That really did hurt.
I can imagine.
We went for a walk and I came back, I was like, my head's really hot. And I got in the shower and it's like, whoa!
Oh,
you know what it's like when you get sunburned?
Yeah.
There's like literally just like a handful of after sun. I just like slapped it on.
I don't think my hair's ever been short enough for me to get a sunburnt scalp.
No, there's not many times I've known you, once with short hair?
Probably, yeah.
And that was it. And the entire time I've known you, when you chopped it off, and we were like, what are you doing?
And then I was like, I don't know, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah. Now we've just got the dreads.
Exactly. So they'll come off at some point, I'm sure, but
No.
not yet. They'll be there a while. Anyway, Steve.
Yes.
It's a bit different this week with the show.
It's a little bit different.
This is going to be our introduction to MotoGP show.
Yes.
So we're going to try desperately not to date the show, Steve. This is going to try and be an evergreen show for the year. We're going to try not to make references that are going to date it. So no references towards like a certain member of the royal family paying off their sex trafficking victims, or
like Prince Andrew.
Yeah, like that. Not references about Prince Andrew, or like no references about athletes getting caught doping but still being allowed to compete in the Olympics. So probably no references to
Missed
that
that
either.
one, but all right, I'll agree with it.
Okay, you missed that one. Well, that's a thing too. But
Right.
but no references like that. We're going
Okay.
to try and keep things topical and on point for the show.
Right, so we're sticking to the point.
We're going to try.
This is going to be hard, mate.
We'll see how it goes.
Everyone's now turning off, like, no tangents, fuck you too.
Yeah. Or half the people listening are like, oh, thank fuck, we're not going to have to put up with Tim's weird opinions about things for once.
Oh, no, that's what makes the show, but we'll do our best.
We will do our best. So, with that out of the way, Steve, shall we dive in?
Let's go straight for it.
Good stuff. So, I'm Tim, he's Steve, and this is for the love of MotoGP. Now, if you're new to MotoGP, guys, you are in the right place. This is the show in which we break down MotoGP so you know what's going on. We are going to run through the teams, the riders, the bikes, the rule sets, the storylines. We're going to run through everything you need to know to start enjoying the sport we all love. And then every week for the next 52 weeks, I'm going to tell you to come back and listen to this show.
That really confused me, and I wondered where you were going. I was like, because we said that at the start of every show, I was like, Tim, we're right here.
I'm just putting you off. I realised I was halfway through a swig of beer then, and I was like, fuck, I need to reply.
Got to talk. Had a mouthful of Stormtrooper.
Yeah. Yes, your wonderful Stormtrooper beer that was a Christmas present. I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah, Secret Santa got me that. It was very nice.
It was nice. I enjoyed that a lot. But then it's just the Fosters after that.
Yeah, but that's still nice. It's beer.
It does the job, mate. Happy
Yeah.
days.
One of my 2 or 3 beers a week.
It's one of my 2 or 3 beers today.
Okay. That's not really... Tangent, on topic.
That's okay. We can have tangents as long as we don't date the show with the tangents.
Oh, right, okay, yes.
So, anyway, Steve, shall we dive into what is MotoGP?
Let's do it, mate.
Good stuff. So, from the top, MotoGP is the pinnacle of motorcycle racing. Think Formula One on 2 wheels.
Yeah.
Riders compete to be the MotoGP World Champion. They collect points from each race depending on their finishing position, and at the end of the season, the rider with the most points becomes the World Champion, which is pretty standard. That's just how racing works normally.
Yeah.
And these guys are riding the fastest racing bikes on the planet.
They are pretty damn quick.
They're quick. The fastest racing bikes round a lap on the planet is probably the best thing to say there, because they're clearly not drag bikes.
No. Yeah, that's a better way of putting it.
Yeah. So the bikes then, Steve. I think we'll mix the order up a little bit from last year. We'll talk about the bikes first, then we'll be breaking down the teams.
Yep.
And we will talk about each manufacturers. We'll talk about how the riders get to MotoGP through the different classes, and then we'll talk about the riders themselves. We've got a long list of riders to talk about. After that, we'll break down how a race weekend works and what it looks like, and that's going to be through setup, through practice, through qualifying, through the race. We'll talk some more about flags and procedures a little bit.
Yep.
And then run through the tracks as well. So there's a lot to get through today.
It's a long show. We did this last year, didn't we? You became very drunk by the end of it.
I did become very drunk by the end of it.
Hey, right on cue. Seamless. Like it.
But this week, Steve, as this is the only show we're recording, I'm probably only going to be as drunk as on a normal show.
Oh, yeah, we did 2 shows last year, didn't we? I always forget them. I thought it was a standalone show, but no, we did the weekly show.
And then we stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning recording another one.
That was a very late, because I remember having to go to work the next day and being like, ugh.
I remember trying to edit the show after we'd recorded and just seeing about 4 computer screens in front of me, like, I think I'm going to have to stop this now.
Yeah, I remember you messaging me like, yeah, I'm doing the edit today.
Yeah. Yeah. So it won't be that bad this week.
No.
Anyway, Steve.
Yes.
The bikes then. Let's dive into these bad boys here.
Straight for them.
And actually, I am going to date the show straight away because we saw some of these bikes recently, Steve.
We
Just
did.
a few days ago, you and I were in London and we got to see more MotoGP bikes than I've ever seen in one room.
I'd forgotten that you'd never seen one in the flesh.
Yeah, I've never seen one in person before. I've certainly never touched one before, so that was
You
exciting.
did touch one.
I touched a couple of them. It was exciting. It really was a treat. I was well away from the exhaust pipe before anyone says anything.
It was just when your hand disappeared up the air scoop of that.
Well, you know.
Yamaha was like, Tim.
It looked inviting, what can I say?
It's like there are people watching.
Well, you know, Steve, the bike had its wheel covers off, so what do you expect?
Well, there you go. It's virtually naked.
But yeah, what wonderful looking machines,
They
man.
are fantastic, are they?
Jeez, I still can't believe it. I was just scrolling through the pictures on my phone earlier on today, and I was just like, oh my God, they're just so beautiful. And we've seen them before, and we've seen them like so many shots and the pictures of them before online, but seeing them in person up close and actually able to walk around it and touch it, it was great.
It was good. It really was good. I like the fact that, like you pointed out, the Yamaha had actually been ridden because the radiator was dirty. It had all wrap up it. Like the front wheel had flicked up.
Yeah, exactly. The Suzuki as well. The discs were all the carbon discs. The brakes on that were all like dented and knocked. So these bikes have been used at some point. I assume they are legit MotoGP race bikes. They've probably been raced by the people.
I would imagine so. Yeah, unless the only thing I could think that they might do to save weight is actually strip the internals out of the engine, then just put the casings back together.
Potentially.
So they're not going to run now. But
no,
they've run in the past.
I imagine that's certainly what they are. They will be rolling chassis with just engine casing on, I'd imagine, because you're sending a lot of technology around the world.
That's it, yes. It's a bit risky, but it was nice. The Suzuki was a lot easier to get round than the Yamaha.
Yeah.
We could certainly see the dash. We had a good look around that, didn't we?
Yeah, a lot of buttons on these dashboards.
There is a lot of buttons. You see shots all on telly, but then when you look at it, you think, my God, it's so compact. There's so much going on.
Yeah, exactly. Those bikes have got more buttons on the handlebars than my car has got in its entirety.
Yeah. It was just nice. Nice to get close to them. The only thing we both said that disappointed us was we saw the Yamaha, didn't we?
Yeah.
Then went round to the Suzuki.
Yeah, saw that.
There was no Honda.
No, there was the Honda RC213VS.
Yeah,
which is that road-going one that they started up for us, which was quite wonderful.
Nearly deafened me.
Yeah.
As you stood behind me with fingers in your ears, and I was so determined to get the video. I was like, deaf in one ear.
I was just like, nah, I'm going to protect my hearing here.
That was so loud.
It was.
And you think that's just the tuned-down road version.
Uh-huh.
It's like, my God. No Ducati either.
No Ducati, no.
Little disappointing, but there you go. We got to see some.
We did, and it was wonderful. I enjoyed it a lot.
Great.
So, the bike, Steve, back to that point here.
Yes.
They are all prototype machines, and they are made only for MotoGP racing.
Yep.
The year begins, as we've just seen, and actually they're not all, this hasn't happened for all the teams yet, but the year begins with every team doing their team launches.
Yep.
They show off their new liveries, and if they have them, new riders to the world. And this year's been a lot of new liveries.
There has, a lot of changes.
A lot of same liveries.
Yeah, a lot of samey stuff going on.
And a raft of new riders coming in as well, which has been quite exciting.
Yeah, it's just every year the teams just have a launch to sort of showcase what they've got.
Yeah.
Like you say, show off the rookies. And it's a nice thing, I would imagine, for the rookies to suddenly get so much attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Your new leathers, your new colours. It's a big hype, and I think as well for the teams, it's probably just a way of getting one up on each other as well.
Without a doubt. Certainly that's the first element of competition of the year, is whose launch can be, I'm not going to say the best, but the least shit.
That's probably a good way of putting it, because over the last couple of years, we've seen some very good launches, but we've also seen, especially last year, some very dull, drawn out affairs, and everyone's asleep by the end of it. But yeah, it's just a nice thing, and it's a nice teaser to the start of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
It's spread out over 8-9 weeks this year.
Yeah,
the
launches. We've still got a couple. There's just one to go now.
I think there is just one. Two. We've got the Mooney VR46.
Yeah.
I know that is it.
I think
just
that is
the one.
the only one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep, left to go this year, but it's just nice. It's there to tease you.
Yes.
You get to see that we sit in anticipation looking for these bikes. We want to see them. No, someone got this launch, and everyone's chatting about it. It's just enough to get the taste buds going again.
Certainly.
So,
and it really does do the job, because I'm super stoked for it now, man.
Yeah, between the launches, the show on Friday, it's really got me going again.
Yeah, exactly. It's 3 weeks now. It's after this show, 2 more shows, and then we're there.
Exactly. And one of those will be race week.
Yeah, exactly.
Very exciting.
It's all coming together, Steve. I can't wait, my friend. I can't wait.
I know. That Friday, I might have to book that Friday off work.
I'm just going to probably take it off. I just can oh, shit. I don't know if I will be able to. I think I might be doing a couple of weeks of real work, actually, then, Steve. It's just occurred to me, yeah.
Ooh.
That's a bummer.
It is a bummer. Well, I might take the day off and
you
just
can take the day
send
off
you lots of messages
while
you're doing some real work.
Yeah, that's the disappointing thing, isn't it?
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Moving on. So the bikes then, Steve, the manufacturers of these machines, the manufacturers will come to, they build the engines, the gearbox, the chassis. Generally, they get their brakes from Brembo. They'll get their suspension from Öhlins or WP. And exhausts and stuff often come from outside manufacturers as well. Akrapovic is the big one. Isn't it? And Arrow as well, I think.
I think Arrow. Is it Project SC or SC Project or something that Honda use?
Right,
they can use different ones,
depending
on what they want. But yeah, Akrapovic, however you say it.
It was almost a year ago, Steve, where we slaughtered the name of that so badly that we had a couple of people send us voice messages on how to say it.
We did, yeah, we did, because our accents, we just can't say it.
I think it's Akrapovic. I think
it's Akrapovic. We can't get that rudder. I can't do it.
Yeah, we don't worry about it.
No. So over here, it's Akrapovic.
Yeah. I like that you said that in a very British accent as well. Akrapovic, darling.
Yeah, it's have to break it out every now and again. We'll go all Hugh Grant when we try and do this.
That's the one, my friend. And tyres are spec tyres, all supplied by Michelin as well.
Yep. All across the board, everyone uses the same.
Everyone uses the same ones. They'll have various specs of tyre for the weekend, but generally everyone converges on a very similar tyre set, don't they? You might see someone running a medium front or a hard front, and that's going to be the only difference, really. You're very rarely going to see someone on a hard front, hard rear, and then someone else on a soft front, soft rear.
Yeah, because depending on the track, there'll be different. There's different compounds of tyre in there. So soft, which will heat up quicker,
medium faster.
Yeah. Medium, which is like through the board, it's going to take a little while longer to heat up, but it's going to last longer. Then you've got the hard, which is going to take, again, longer to heat up, but last longer.
Yeah, and you can see amazing differences between, a soft tyre could maybe be 2 seconds a lap faster than a hard tyre if they're both in their prime.
Yeah, if you hit it right. And that will, if you watch the race, and they do put out what tyre selection the riders have used.
Yeah, they do, and you certainly see it interestingly sometimes. I remember, I think it was Valencia one year, Jorge Lorenzo just fired away on soft tyres and just built this massive gap. And then towards the end of the race, Marc Marquez is there on hard tyres and just was catching him hand over fist. But Lorenzo had just done enough in those early stages to break enough of a gap that as his tyres degraded, he could drop back, but still had enough time.
Yeah, that's the gamble. Hit it out of the blocks or go for the long game. So it depends what the rider likes, track conditions, what you think is going to work. It's their one little bit, or not one little bit, but part of what they can choose, they think is going to work best.
Yeah, exactly. And like you say, different riding styles to do it. Lorenzo was someone that was very much get to the front, pull a huge gap and just maintain it.
Yeah.
Whereas you'll see the scrappier riders aren't going to be so happy to do that.
No, but one spec tyre across the board.
Exactly. There is traction control. There is also anti-wheelie. There's a lot of electronics involved in these machines. The electronics all used to be controlled by the factories, but that's not true anymore.
Nope.
I believe it's by the hardware for the electronics is all by Magneti Marelli.
Yep.
I believe the software is all controlled by Magneti Marelli as well, in conjunction with Dorna and the FIM. So everything is kind of spec controlled now.
That's it. You buy the box, You slap it on the bike, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, there is certain coding you can do. You can make some changes, but
You
it's all
can
got
map
to be
it a little
controlled.
bit.
It's not like it used to be where Honda just had one of the most unrideable motorcycles, but the greatest electronics package. So you could just make this untamable beast completely rideable.
That's it. It's a money-saving project as well, isn't it? So it's one thing.
Certainly.
Throughout the year, you can't develop it. It's what you get, and that's it. Set price, slap it on your bike.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Otherwise, they spend thousands upon millions of
Yeah, exactly. It's just the man hours, isn't it, involved in the electronics? Otherwise, it just builds and builds and builds because it's diminishing returns. Like you'll get to a point where 10 engineers, if you double that, they're not going to do twice as much work. Like they're not going to have twice as much progress. I suppose is all the answer there. They could do twice as much work, but they're not going to have double the progress. So it just becomes diminishing returns across the board.
That is true.
And we just mentioned Dorna there. Dorna is the rights holder to MotoGP. And we also mentioned the FIM. FIM are the international body that governs the sport. So if you are a Formula One fan, Dorna are like Liberty Media, and the FIM is the same as the FIA.
Yeah.
So the first time, Steve, we've just seen it now, but the first time we get to see the bikes properly after the launches is during pre-season testing.
Yes.
We've seen testing already this year. It's been a dramatic final test, I think you could say, in Mandalika.
It's been a strange one.
We're not going to talk about it too much now.
No.
Next week, we will be having kind of a 2-week news show. So I think the whole of next week will just be us discussing the news as opposed to the news and then putting some other topic in. It will just be news.
There's a lot of news this week. So we did say at the start of this show, we can't cover it all this week. This has been an insanely long show.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll break it down into two parts next week.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll do all of the news next week. But the testing we've seen this year has been at Sepang and Mandalika. So Sepang, Malaysia, Mandalika is Indonesia, and it's a brand new track. We also saw Jerez at the end of the season.
Yeah, straight after the race, wasn't it?
Exactly. That was our first opportunity to see the rookies on the new bikes and stuff.
Yep, that's always quite nice.
But with Mandalika being over now, Steve, there is no more testing. So the next time we're going to see bikes on track this year is it going to be in Qatar for the season opener, which begins Friday, the 4th of March.
Not far away.
It's not far away at all, man. It's like 2 and a bit weeks now.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, I can't. I'm so stoked for it, Steve.
Yeah,
I am stoked.
I am now. This whole week has just lit a fire under me. I was like, let's get on board with this.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, chatted to everyone at work about it. I was like, you going to watch MotoGP this year? Just like getting the new recruits in.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
They're like, bloody hate motorsport. It's like, watch this and you will love it.
Exactly. This is the motorsport that will change your mind on motorsport.
Yes, absolutely.
On to the teams then, Steve.
Yes.
So we have 12 teams competing over 21 races in 2022. That is assuming that no races are cancelled. There may well be. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Is there still 2, I believe, that are on the assumption list?
I think everything is announced and confirmed. But what with the state of the world at the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if... I will be surprised if we get all 21 rounds.
I think we will at some point. All depends on how COVID flares up in certain areas, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah. It looks like there's nothing to be confirmed now. Everything is down, everything is dated and ready to go.
Nice.
But yeah, it depends. And it also depends on what happens to the Indonesian circuit, because we're supposed to be going there very soon, and there's people that are quite unhappy with it already. So
there are, yes.
But we were not going to get into that today.
No, that's for next week.
Exactly, that
it's
is
really hard, actually, not to start going off on a tangent and talking about this stuff. I'm struggling. I was thinking to go down that road. It's like, mustn't.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. It's such a change from the norm, Steve.
We've just dropped into that point where we could just go off on our little tangents and talk about what we want when we're sticking to almost a script.
Yeah, it's a bit
damn
much.
hard. Really hard.
So out of our 12 teams, each of them are going to be fielding 2 riders. So it's 24 riders in total on the grid.
Yes.
And there are 6 manufacturers competing here. So 12 different teams, 6 manufacturers. You'd think, it makes sense here. Every manufacturer fields 4 bikes, sorry. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And in an ideal world, that would be wonderful. In an ideal world, every manufacturer would have 1 factory team, which is the fully backed, supported team, and 1 satellite team.
Yeah.
Now, a satellite team is sort of a B team.
It is, yeah. It's just, they've got the hand, it's like you're getting your big brother's hand-me-down jeans.
It's very much like it. We certainly traditionally was very much like that.
Yeah.
It was. We saw it a lot with Tech 3 when they were
in the
with
past,
Yamaha, where it would literally be the first test of, say, 2018. They would just have the 2017 bikes rolled out of the Yamaha garage into the Tech 3 garage, and then Tech 3 would be running year-old bikes for the year.
Yeah, that is basically it. At the minute now, though, there are deals in the paddock where in your contract you can say, I want the latest current contract.
Yep.
But that team is not fully factory supported.
No, exactly. They buy the equipment from the factory, and in theory tends to run it without much support.
Yeah.
They won't have a lot of factory technicians in there. They're not going to have a lot of the factory team guys, but sometimes satellite teams do have very close relationships with manufacturers, and we have two at the minute that are a prime example. I think in Pramac, who are running the Ducatis, and in Tech 3, who are running KTM's.
Yeah, they do work very hand in hand with their factory team.
Very closely with the factory teams. They're running current year machinery, up to spec machinery, and both Pramac and Tech 3 as satellite teams and organisations have got a ton of factory engineers from their representative factories.
It's good. It's nice when they do that, but also I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I like the kind of tiered structure of it. But I'm fully on board for everyone being on like the current machinery. So I'm a bit of a contradiction in terms.
I certainly like everyone being on current year machinery because it stops the era that we saw with the aliens.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, where you just get a few riders who could blast away at the front.
Yeah, there was a long time in MotoGP where only 4 people won races.
Yeah,
and it was
a very long time.
Seasons. It was 6 or 7 years.
Easy.
Where it was only four guys that were winning races. And we just don't see that now because the level of competition is so much higher now. And a lot of that is because satellite teams are getting really good up-to-spec machines, which means satellite riders are capable of taking it to the factory riders.
Yeah, years gone by, if you were in the satellite team, you knew you were getting the hand-me-down, so you knew you weren't going to be as competitive.
Yeah, in a really good season, you might get a handful of podiums.
Yeah, but now you're on as good a machinery. What you're sitting on is capable of winning a race. It's down to you and your team to then convert that to a win. So, I don't know. I'm a contradiction.
I'm going to get you a t-shirt that just says that. I'm a contradiction.
Basically.
So like we say, in an ideal world, every manufacturer would have 2 factory bikes and 2 satellite bikes, but we don't live in an ideal world, Steve.
Nope.
That's not really how it works. Honda, wonderful. They have 2 factory bikes, 2 satellite bikes. Yamaha, wonderful. 2 factory bikes, 2 satellite bikes. KTM even, beautiful. KTM, quite new players in the game.
They are.
Also, 2 factory bikes, 2 satellite bikes. Then it all starts to break down a little.
That all goes a little bit wrong.
Yes. Suzuki just have their 2 factory machines, and Aprilia have their 2 factory machines as well. I mean, up until this season, in fact, Steve, Aprilia didn't really have a factory team. They had a weird pseudo-factory satellite team that was a very strange arrangement, but we don't need to talk about that anymore. We don't have to explain that anymore, because that's no longer the case.
That has gone. Yeah, talking about that, thankfully, is over.
I seem to remember last year that took us quite a lot of explaining.
I think we gave up. In the end, I think we just sort of like, that's enough.
Yeah.
It was such a weird setup that trying to dig into it and get down to the nitty gritty of it, we were delving into like just this weird, I don't know, business world of conglomerate kind of.
It was just too much. It's too much legal speak for me to really understand the agreements going on there.
Yeah, it was just a weird setup that just went racing.
Yeah, exactly. So, because neither Suzuki nor Aprilia have the satellite teams, our 6th manufacturer here had to pick up the slack.
Yes.
Ducati. Ducati have 2 factory bikes, the standard.
Yep.
And 6 satellite machines on the grid. There are 4 teams running Ducati, 8 Ducatis on the grid at the moment, Steve.
It's annoying. I like it for the manufacturer because it shows how committed they are to the sport.
Certainly, but I would rather have 8 Ducatis than lose a team or lose 2 teams. I'd rather it's this way. But I also don't want to be sitting and watching the Ducati Cup.
No, that is basically where we're going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to be watching MotoGP. I want to be watching the best manufacturers in the world button heads. I don't want to see it all dominated by an armada of Ducatis.
In an ideal world, in coming seasons, Suzuki and Aprilia will be big. Well, they are big enough, but they will have their satellite teams.
Well, they are the 2 smallest budgets on the grid, to be fair, Suzuki and Aprilia.
They are, but if more money was thrown at them, the space is there for them to pick up the slack.
Certainly
and keep everyone on a level playing field. But this is the world we find ourselves in.
Exactly, and eventually I think it will come that way.
I think
Unless
it will.
we had another 2008 financial crash kind of happen now. MotoGP is building and building, getting stronger and stronger. More people are getting interested in it. So at some point, they are going to break it down to this 4 bikes per manufacturer thing. I'm sure of it. And I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later.
I think it will.
And I think maybe this armada of super fast Ducatis that we're currently seeing might be the catalyst for Dawn to throw a rule in that's like, that's it, you've got to supply 4 machines now and no more.
Yeah, I think if we see a season either this year or next year where it is just literally Ducati podium,
yeah.
which we are potentially looking at.
Oh, certainly, especially when we come on to talk about how the class of the Ducatis we've got on the field too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Once that happens, then they're going to turn around and say, right, that's it, because it is just like you say, the Ducati Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
And no one else can get a sniff in because there's just too many of them.
And there's going to be tracks theoretically this year, Steve. We'll get onto the tracks later properly, but there'll be tracks like the Red Bull Ring where you could see like the top 6 all being Ducatis.
Literally, you could have the entire lot finished. They could wipe out the top 5 and everyone else just be like, well, let's go home.
Yeah, exactly.
Just be sniffing for the whatever they can get.
Yeah,
so,
bottom of the top 10.
Yeah. God, what a world that would be. Yeah, we will see.
We will see. And on that mention, I just mentioned that some of the Ducatis are going to be very, very fast. We have 5 current year machines for Ducati.
We do.
Ducati are fielding 5 of their each bike has its name, and for the Ducati it's the GP. It's the GP22 is this year's, GP21 was last year's, GP23 will be next year's. But they've got 5 GP22s on the grid.
Nutty, mate. Absolutely insane.
It's going to be mad. But, you know, if you're a Ducati fan right now, fucking result, because you are going to be seeing a lot of podiums. You're going to be drinking a lot of champagne this year.
That's it. You just get one of each team's hats to wear. Just like, right, you've won, swap it out.
Yeah, exactly. Pick your favourite rider on each team. Happy days.
Yeah, just stitch a load of shirts together. All bases covered.
Yeah. Speaking of teams, then, Steve.
Yes.
Let's dive briefly here into teams and manufacturers.
Go for it.
So, as we said, we've got 6 manufacturers on the grid. They are Honda, Yamaha, KTM, Ducati, Suzuki, and Aprilia. Starting at the top, Honda are the most decorated factory in MotoGP with 25 Premier Class manufacturer titles.
Nice.
So they've won the manufacturer championship 25 times, which just is astounding.
That is astounding for what their rider championship results have been recently.
I mean, to be fair, Honda have just been crushing it.
They have.
Full stop.
But only with one rider, which we'll get on to.
Only with one rider at the moment, but then there was one rider before that. So
that is true.
Honda have very much been a factory that when they get a rider, they win like crazy with that rider for quite an extended period of time.
Yeah, they do seem to pick the longevity. You know, it's not just going to be a one-off. We've picked this guy, he's going to win next year, and that's it.
Yeah, I think... Well, I don't know how true that is. Because we all kind of have I think Mick Doohan, I think when Valentino Rossi was there, I think the Marc Marquez. I think Casey Stoner, he only won 1 championship for Honda. Nicky Hayden is probably one of the odd ones out to kind of not fluke championship, because that's not what Nicky Hayden did.
No.
But have that not such a dominant championship. It was not like the Mick Doohan, the Marc Marquez, the Valentino Rossi, the Casey Stoner championships with Honda that were just dominant. It was a very consistently scoring points kind of championship. That ain't really the Honda way.
No. It's like if we're in it, we want to win 6, 7, 8 titles on the belts.
Yeah, exactly.
At least. So if they see something that they can nurture and really go forward with, that's it. You're under their wing.
Yes, exactly that. So Honda's 2 teams. They have the Repsol Honda team, which is the factory team, and then there's the LCR Honda, the Lucio Cecchinello Racing Team.
That's the one.
Who it's owned and run by Lucio Cecchinello.
Yep.
So the Repsol Honda team, and this is probably the MotoGP bike. If you've not seen a MotoGP bike before, you've probably seen a Repsol Honda at some point. Yeah. It'll be on an advert somewhere. If you're anywhere in Europe or... In fact, I think the UK is one of the countries with the least, maybe the US as well, actually, to be fair, but the countries with the least MotoGP promotion that I've ever seen. You go around Europe and Asia and even South America, you see Repsol garages, everywhere. You see pictures of MotoGP rides. I remember being in Thailand and buying a pack of cigarettes from a case that was just Andrea Dovizioso's head.
Nice.
Which was weird. And it was just his helmet and his number, and I was like, I'm just buying Marlboros from Andrea Dovizioso's face. It was very strange.
I'm trying to think what the advert was in the shop windows over here last year where you had Dovi.
Oh, did we? Shop windows, I missed that one.
I can't remember what it was now. But anyway, that was the only time over here I've ever seen any kind of MotoGP advertising.
Was this last year?
Yeah, I believe it was last year or the year before. One of the
The
two.
year before would make more sense, just because he wasn't really in it last year, which would make me think like Lenovo or something.
I think it could have been. I think it was a tech shop where we saw them. Anyway, he was in a winner, but that is the only time in the UK I've seen any kind of
you don't really
off
see
the
it
telly advertising. Whereas, like you say, you go to Spain.
Well, I mean,
Repsol everywhere.
Spain is MotoGP, isn't it?
Basically, Spain or Italy. You're going to step on one of those two countries. You're going to do pretty well to not go a day without seeing any kind of MotoGP advertising out there somewhere.
Certainly.
Let us know if you do. I was here.
So yeah, the Repsol Honda, that's the bike you're going to know. The bike that hasn't really, the livery hasn't changed since since the NSR.
Pretty much just before Mick Doohan.
Yeah.
Apart from that one weird Nastro Azzurro Rossi year.
But that's because it wasn't a factory machine that won the title that year, but they still had a Repsol factory machine that year.
They did, yeah, they did. It's just dominance.
Yes, it really
and it's just like you say, the quintessential livery that goes with MotoGP.
Yeah, exactly that. Probably the second most recognisable team, especially of the modern era, thanks to one Valentino Rossi.
Oh, absolutely.
It's going to be Yamaha here. Yamaha have got 14 Premier Class manufacturer titles. I have to admit, I was going to try and look at how many rider titles each manufacturer had, but Jesus Christ, to find those numbers easily without going and counting every single one manually was a bit of a ball ache, so I very quickly gave up with that. I'm not going to lie. Yeah,
I admire your dedication. I would have probably just guessed it.
Yeah. I was just like, nah, can't be doing this. I got very confused when I got to Ducati, which we'll come on to. I got very confused when I was looking at their numbers. But yeah, I decided I wasn't going to bother counting the riders' titles. So Yamaha 14 Premier Class titles. Most of those came, thanks to Valentino Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo in more recent years. And they have two teams. The Monster Yamaha, which is the factory squad, and then there's the With You Yamaha, which is a new team, sort of, for this year.
It was there, but under a different name last year.
Born out of the ashes of an old team.
Yeah.
Sort of the same management structure, sort of the same owners, the same machines.
Yeah, just sort of kept alive by Razlan Rizali.
Exactly.
Who sort of bought the team out and then got the sponsorship With You.
Yes, With You and every other fucker that wanted to sponsor him. I'm pretty sure he put it on like Fiverr or something for sponsor. GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Start a Facebook page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Help me, lads.
There was a Formula One team that did that, wasn't there, one year? Caterham, I believe. Did they do a GoFundMe or one of the equivalent of GoFundMe?
Oh, I like it.
Crowdfunding or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a crowdfunding program to keep the car running, and they managed to get to one more race thanks to it.
Really?
It was about midway through the season. They were like, we've got no money. Well, let's fucking try it. And they got to one more race because of it.
I like it. I like the dedication. That's admirable.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been like, well, we're skiing. No one's going to give us any money. Sorry, that's shut up shop.
But they were giving good rewards out. They were like, we're probably not going to make it to the end of the season. So if you donate some money now, we'll just send you team kit. Like, we can send you a bit of the front wing. We'll just send you bits of car. Like, they gave us some really good rewards.
Oh, damn. Wish I'd known about that.
But people were donating like thousands to get these.
I was going to say. Me rocking up with my tenner.
Yeah.
What can I get for this? You got this washer.
Yeah.
Cheers.
They're like, yeah, that came out of the motorhome. That's not.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Fucking you can imagine someone just like running out the back, get him something quick.
Yeah.
Diving in a skip. I got you this.
Bit of old Wrigley's peeled that off the floor for you.
Yeah. Not even the wrapper. Whatever you just pulled off the floor.
Yeah.
Or under the bed, under the desk.
That's exactly it. You're like, well, I could have this nice hard bit that's been here a while, this squidgy bit that's clearly new and still a bit warm.
Yeah, who's not chewing anymore? It's yours. Ugh.
So that's Yamaha. And Yamaha, obviously, as I said, very famous for the Valentino Rossi years.
Oh, God, yeah.
And Jorge Lorenzo took them 3 championships, and very recently, Fabio Quartararo.
Yes.
And then we come on to KTM, the next factory here, Steve. KTM, the first of our factories to discuss who haven't got a Premier Class title to their name, be it a riders, team, or manufacturer championship.
They're still fairly new. They feel fairly fresh in the series.
Is this their 6th year now?
I believe it is their 6th year. So, and they haven't won a championship yet.
No.
They're still realistically getting to grips.
Oh, they're certainly
with
still
themselves.
Getting to grips. Yeah, they're not a championship challenger this year, are they?
Not yet. They're getting there. They're close.
They're closing in, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've got multiple MotoGP race wins in the last 5 years. Plus, they have got championships in Moto3.
Yes.
KTM never took a championship in Moto2, did they?
No.
They came very close twice, but never did it. But the Akiayo squad, which is affiliated with KTM now, but running Kalex chassis, which will come on to,
it's a
has one
bit
championship.
strange.
Yeah.
To explain, but it's not MotoGP, so we'll stick to this.
Exactly, so we're not going to worry about that too much. And now KTM have the full factory-backed Red Bull KTM. Again, I'm going to keep making Formula One references through this episode because you just have to look at the numbers to realise that MotoGP has, 10 million followers online and Formula One has 100 million followers online. So
that's baffling because Formula One's crap.
Oh, Steve, don't be like that.
There you go. I had to throw it in for him.
One day we'll do a Formula One versus MotoGP show.
Yeah, if anyone's new to the show, get used to Tim. He loves all motorsport.
I'm just a big fan of motorsport, and I'm really enjoying all the Formula One team launches at the moment, Steve.
I know. To be fair, I looked at the Williams car. I need a bike then.
The Williams looks nice, man.
It does look nice. I'm not a fan of car racing. Excuse me. Losing my voice now. We're not even halfway through the show.
Oh dear. You'll be a real creaky mess by the end of the show, Steve.
Just going to hear Tim talking. I'll come at the end. Thank you.
Oh, you sounded a bit like Gandalf when you did that there.
Did I?
But like, no, not Dumbledore. You know, when Dumbledore ends up like getting all poisoned because he's trying to break the Horcrux, drinking the water, getting all poisoned. He's all like, Harry, help me. Sounded a bit like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, we'll try not to do that again. I saw you've just reminded. No tangents. No tangents.
Well, you can do tangents, just don't take the show.
What was it? I've lost it now. Right, yeah, talking about Harry Potter. I saw a massive Harry Potter thing earlier.
Okay.
It said most wizards, this was online, most wizards in the Harry Potter universe live to be over 100. Now that bad dude who slashed his face up and made all those Horcruxes things.
You Voldemort. Yeah.
That's it.
The bad dude. That's like being like, the bad prick that made the ring that Frodo had to, the bad cunt. You know his name, the bad one.
I know his name. This is Harry Potter. I'm not that into it. I'm more of a Lord of the Rings guy.
There we go. That's why I made the reference there.
Yeah. Anywho, apparently most wizards in the Harry Potter universe live to be well over 100.
Okay.
And apparently Dumbledore was 115 when he died. Right? Voldemort, dude, what had lived forever.
Yeah.
Made all those Horcrux things, died at 71.
Was he that old?
Yeah.
71, jeez.
In obviously that world.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was younger than 71 when he died.
I don't know. This is just what I read online.
Same age as Harry's parents, and Harry was like, they weren't like in their 50s when they had him, and the whole saga was over before he was 20. So he must have been younger than that.
This is just what I read online.
Okay,
I've just reminded me you talking about that. I was like, there we go. We'll check it out there.
There's me just like, actually, as a bit of a fantasy and sci-fi nerd, Steve, I can confirm that age must be incorrect.
Well, we know you like correcting people, as you told me that story last week.
I can't help myself, mate.
Well, no, if you get someone like that, you got to be like, this guy's a dick. Shut him up.
Exactly, that's it, my friend. That's
I do
exactly
it all the time. If I'm right, I'm normally wrong, and I'm just like, oh shit.
I just can't help myself. If I'm as wrong, I'm just like, that's actually factually incorrect.
The best ones are when you're at a pub quiz, though.
Yes.
And if you blatantly know, like the quiz dude has got a question and answer wrong, and you're just like, yeah, actually, you're fucking wrong, mate.
I remember once winning a pub quiz because the question was, and the reason I won was because how they worded the question. The question was, what was the first film to feature James Bond as a character?
As a character?
This is the point, isn't it? So everyone just goes, was Dr. No.
Emergency Secret Service.
No, again. So Dr. No is the first film within the 007 collection.
Uh-huh.
That's the answer they had down. The first film to feature James Bond as a character was, in fact, the first Casino Royale.
Yeah,
And James Bond was featured in that, obviously, because it was about James Bond. But that wasn't part of the 007 collection. So
No.
I said Casino Royale. We'd lost by a point. We'd got that one wrong. And everyone else had got that right. So I ended up being such a twat. I was just like, actually...
Google.
Yeah, well, this is what happened. And I was like, that's not correct. And the guy was like, well, it is. It was Dr. No. I was like, no, Dr. No is the first film in the 007 collection, not the first film to feature James Bond as a character. That was, in fact, Casino Royale. He was like, no, I'm sorry. There was a free round as well for the winning team. Well, there were 6 of us. It was a good round. So, so I was like, that's wrong. It's just patently wrong. Look, we'll look it up now. We looked it up, and they ended up... It was the guy doing the pub quiz, and the landlord and landlady of the pub had to have a meeting to decide.
Nice.
In which the whole room is just sat there like, oh my god, what's about to happen? And obviously there's like 8 teams in there, and there's us, and then 7 teams just glaring at us. And when it came down to it, they went, no, you're right, the question was worded wrong. You actually got the right answer, so they removed a point from everyone, gave us a point. Boom, we win the pub quiz.
Nice, I like it.
And I was never welcome in that pub again.
Tim's never been back.
No, but it did get 3 rounds, so worth it, wasn't it?
Bargain.
Anyway, Ducati, our
Yes.
4th manufacturer. I think that was my bracelets making a loud noise then.
No, Sarah just shut the door.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, we're being too loud.
No, probably not. Probably just while the kids has woken up.
Ducati then, our 4th factory, Steve.
Yes.
Ducati have got 3 MotoGP. Oh, wait, KTM. We didn't talk about the teams, did we?
Oh, no, we didn't.
We briefly spoke about the Red Bull KTM team. I compared it to Formula 1, where the livery looks very similar to the Red Bull Formula 1 livery.
It does.
So you will recognise them very, very quickly.
Yep.
And then the Tech 3 KTM squad, which is the satellite team here. They are bright orange, KTM orange actually, and it just says KTM down the side of the bike. So they look a lot like the factory KTMs, but they're actually the satellite KTM team that's fully sponsored and supported by the factory.
Very simple, very bright.
Lovely. It's still my favourite livery, my favourite MotoGP livery of all time.
Oh, yeah, it is amazing. Look it up.
Yes.
See how bright it is. Be dazzled, fall in love.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. You can probably go back and listen to last year's show when that KTM launched, and I was just like, oh my God, what is this?
Giddy mess.
It was amazing. Ducati then, Steve, our 4th manufacturer here. They have 3 MotoGP manufacturer titles to their names.
They do.
1 rider's title. That's where I got confused when I was writing these notes up, because I was like, what? They haven't got 3? They've just got the 1 with Casey Stoner. I was like, oh no, they've actually got 2 more in the last 2 years manufacturer titles, because they've just been consistent but never
and
had
all the
one
bikes.
rider. And they've had all of the bikes, exactly. And their teams, like we say, they have 4 teams. They have the Lenovo Ducati squad. They're the bright red machines.
That's
very obvious. They have the Pramac Ducati. This is the red, white, and blue machine now.
Yeah, all a bit funky. Changed it up this year. Like it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a really good livery. We've got the VR46 Ducati. This is the Valentino Rossi team Ducati. We don't yet know what colour they're going to be.
This is the one we're waiting on, and probably the one that everyone's really looking forward to see, because it's just Rossi.
Exactly.
And there was all that debacle with sponsorship early in the year. No one really knew what happened to it, and now he's come out with this Mooney VR46 thing. So everyone's like, "Well, their livery's black and red."
Yeah, black and yellow.
Black and yellow. Sorry. Yep. That's talking about the Reg K.
Distracting you now.
Yeah. So obviously Rossi colours as such. So there's a lot of hype about what it's going to look like.
I think it's going to look shit.
Part
of me thinks it's going to look really, really wank.
I think it's going to be like Marmite, mate. It's going to be one end of the spectrum or completely the other.
Yes.
I don't think there's going to be any middle ground with this at all.
Yeah, I agree.
But we will have to wait and see.
And then the 4th satellite team, the 4th team, the 3rd satellite team, is the Gresini Ducati team. This is a new team for Ducati. Gresini in the past have run Hondas, they ran Aprilias, and now they are back. Well, now they're in the fold of Ducati, and they've got this like lovely baby blue machine.
It's nice. It's a very nice blue-grey hewn kind of just shade. It's very nice. Look it up. If you haven't seen it already, look it up. It's very, very nice.
Yeah, exactly. And we should say as well, the Pramac Ducati team are kind of the closest of the satellite teams to the factory. They're the ones that are going to be running 2 current year machines. The riders are both like multiple podium sitters. One of them's a race winner. Like they're both world champions in the lower classes.
There's a lot of talent in the Ducati squads,
and they're very closely linked to Pramac Ducati. And actually, in fact, our current 2 factory Ducati riders only 2 years ago were both Pramac Ducati satellite riders.
They were, that's very true. They were.
Suzuki then, Steve, being our 5th manufacturer here. As we've said, only 2 bikes for Suzuki, just their full factory effort here. And they have got 7 Premier Class titles to their name. One of which, no, they didn't win a manufacturer's title in 2020, did they?
From, probably
before pre-2000.
Yeah, I think the last one,
KRJ, right?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, 2000.
Or was that 2001? No, it was 2000.
I think it was 2000. Yeah, we've been corrected on this fairly recently.
It was 2000 because didn't Valentino Rossi win the last 500cc title in 2001, and then in 2002 it became MotoGP?
Yes, I believe you're right. He did.
Yeah.
So yes, and then previous to that, it was like Kevin Swans, etc.
Yeah. Going
back into the 80s, 90s. So it's been a while since they've had a manufacturer's title.
Yeah, but like we said, they took the Riders' Championship in 2020 with Johan Mir, and they are sponsored by X-Star, which is, I believe, also a Suzuki-owned oil brand.
I think so.
Sort of just sponsored by themselves, which I'm sure is just a tax loophole.
Yeah, we're looking at it. They probably failed to secure a sponsor. And we're like, well, we've got this company.
We've got this company that's about to pay a shitload of tax, but if they sponsor our other company, then they won't have to pay the tax. And because they're sponsoring the other company that we also own, they're just giving us the money. So I think that's probably what happened.
I think someone's sat there, gone exactly that, and thought, right, let's do it.
Yeah, the world of finance is easy, mate.
It's
easy. Just build more companies and just file money around so no one can see where it's coming from. Anyway, Aprilia. Aprilia are our sixth factory. They've been in MotoGP longer than KTM, haven't they? But only by a year or two.
Yeah, not by much.
But they are the least successful in MotoGP of our six factories. They've never had a race win. They've only had a single podium in the MotoGP era.
Yep.
Which the MotoGP era begins in 2002.
Yes.
So they've had multiple class titles in the midweight, which would be the 250 class, and in the lightweight class, which were the 125s at the time. They had a lot of really good titles there. And a lot of success. With a lot of riders today, we have seen, certainly, maybe not so much now actually, but of the Alien era, so of 10 years ago, lot of those guys that were racing at the front of MotoGP had been champions for Aprilia beforehand in the lower classes. Yeah, absolutely. They all, before it turned to like the four-stroke racing, definitely the two-stroke days. Yes, I think that was only the two strokes. I think as soon as it went four-stroke, Aprilia were just like, nah,
can't do it.
Don't know how this works.
No. But yeah, 250s, two strokes, 125, two strokes. They were very, very good back then. Yeah. And like the road going versions of those bikes were nuts. Yeah, and they still are though, aren't they? You still see the Aprilias today. There was a 250 at the auction on Friday. Yeah, there was. Which pointed out, and very dribbles. Beautiful machines, mate. Yeah, pricey. I'd never start. Well, I would for the smell. My problem sort of is that if I had it, I'd have to fucking ride it. There's no point owning it if you ain't gonna ride it. I would, but I wouldn't stack it. You know me, Steve. I'd be binning it up my first time out. It'd be in a field in bits. I'd be like, "Fuck, how did that happen?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. I slow down for corners." Yeah, I forgot about that bit. Can't square this off. Watch. Oh dear. And yeah, like we say, Aprilia have only got their factory team. It's just the Aprilia racing team. There's no satellite squads or anything. They had a very confusing relationship with a satellite team, even though they didn't have a factory team up until this year. But now that's all kind of fixed and sorted, so we're all good on that front. They're all in its place. Exactly. World is right. Oh, attacking my mic. Things aren't going well. Steve, let's take a brief break, mate. Let's go for a wee break. When we come back, we will discuss how the riders get to MotoGP, and then we'll go through the riders themselves. So we're going to probably spend a lot of time... literally through them. A lot of time just shooting the shit about riders and just giving our opinions on them, really, because that's what the show is, Steve. It's basically what we do. Unqualified, uneducated opinions on shit. Right. We're pretty much the anti-vaxxers of the MotoGP world. We pretty much are, yes. We are vaccinated, but we are the anti-vaxxers. We're the people spouting off that pretend we know when really we don't. Of course, we know nothing. So, guys, bear with us just one moment and we will be right back with you. Thank you for being with us there, guys. We are back, fresh beer in hand. There it is. There it is. I got good at that one, Steve. I'm getting good at opening cans now, finally. Finally, I've after all these years, after nearly 31 years of life, I can finally open a can on demand in front of the microphone. That's good. That's a talent to have. Thank you. I think it's maybe one of my greatest life skills. Nice. Glad we're in agreement on that one. So, Steve, where are we at here on our list of things to talk about? How riders make their way to MotoGP. That's exactly it, my friend. So, before we dive into the riders to talk about each of the riders that we have today, we are going to discuss the road to MotoGP. Yeah, that's exactly the words I was just thinking of. There we go. See, all worked out. So it starts early, the road to MotoGP. It starts very young. It starts with guys in the Talent Cups. These are young kids. These are very young kids. And very regional competitions, the Talent Cup. So there's the British Talent Cup. There's the Honda Asia Talent Cup. We have the Northern European Talent Cup. There's now the America's Talent Cup. There's Talent Cups all over the world for us now. They're popping up all over the place. And it is a good start for these guys. Yes, certainly. It's a nice, like I said, it's early, but it's good that these cups out in the world to really draw talent into the sport.
Yes, exactly that.
Right.
There's also the Red Bull Rookies. There's the Junior GP. Is that what it's called now?
It is the Junior GP now.
Yeah, that's it. And that was once the CEV. It was the Junior World Championship.
Yeah.
I think it should be called Moto Junior, as we've discussed before. But
I think it should.
it's
changed names multiple times, but it's just like the last step.
Yes, exactly. And then after the Junior GP here, we kind of dive into Moto3. But we also get riders coming into the MotoGP via World Superbikes. It happens sometimes.
It does.
And there is also Moto E, but we're still yet to see a rider progress from Moto E up to MotoGP. Moto E seems to be where, now I don't want to say failed Grand Prix riders go to end their careers, but that's sort of where they all end up at the moment.
There are a few that have got into the Moto E from like all around the world, different classes. Most are ex MotoGP riders, ex World Champions.
Well, they certainly, that's sort of how they started, but that's not true anymore so much. There are still some ex MotoGP riders in there, but there's also riders that have come from Moto3 and Moto2, and riders that have come across from World Superbikes and stuff.
Yeah.
And generally riders that can't get a ride elsewhere.
It does seem that way.
And not to say none of these people are talented. It's also it's a skill set to be able to ride a 300 kilo motorcycle.
It's a very different game. But like you say, we're yet to see one come across.
Yes.
I'm sure it will happen.
I think it will happen eventually.
Yeah, but at the minute, no one's transitioned from Moto E to MotoGP.
No.
And like you say, World Superbikes, we have seen people come through.
Yeah, we certainly
but
have.
It is quite rare.
It's rare, and it's very rare that they come through and are successful.
Yes, yeah. We have seen riders come in and make a little impact.
Yeah, they've come through. We've had people come through and win races.
Yeah.
Cal Crutchlow, Ben Spies, for example, both won at least one race. Troy Bayliss.
Yeah.
So we have seen it. We have seen these World Superbike riders come in, but off the top of my head, and I think I've said this before, I'm not sure. Certainly in the MotoGP era, there's not been a rider that's come from World Superbikes and won a MotoGP title.
Not yet. Not as far as I'm aware.
Nicky Hayden came straight from Moto America, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. But yeah, I'm sure it will happen, but it's just not happened yet.
Yeah. So within the Grand Prix paddock, we have the Moto E, but then the real road to MotoGP within the Grand Prix paddock, at least, is Moto3, Moto2, MotoGP. Yep. Starts off at Moto3 here. These are the lightweight machines, 250cc, four-stroke engines, and there is multiple manufacturers within Moto3.
Yep.
But as we'll get to, there's really two.
Yes.
The manufacturers are Honda, KTM, GasGas, and Husqvarna, but GasGas and Husqvarna are both subsidiaries of KTM, and I think run identical machinery.
I'm pretty much sure, just different branding.
It's just a branding exercise for KTM, and much like Suzuki's own oil company sponsoring their MotoGP team, it's probably a decent tax write-off.
I'd imagine so. Yet to make a massive impact. It is just really two manufacturers, isn't it?
Yeah, it is just the two. It's just Honda and KTM.
Yeah, they really do the business.
And in the past, we've had Peugeot in there, which also will rebadge KTMs. But there was Mahindra. They made their own chassis.
Yeah, they're gone now, but...
They're gone now. Do they still have a Formula E team, Mahindra?
I believe they do.
Yeah, I think that's where their efforts have gone to now.
Yeah,
towards electric
I think
stuff.
They've sort of just solely concentrated everything on motor.
Yeah, I think they're an Indian manufacturer, aren't they?
Yeah.
So kind of gone, do you know what? Let's focus on the future of technology here. That's where the money's at in the future.
Not a bad bet.
It's a great bet. It's a great bet. I mean, just look at Tesla.
Exactly.
So there's multiple teams throughout Moto3.
Yep.
And these teams generally field two riders, but we have seen in the past there's one rider teams, and we've seen three rider teams as well in the past.
Yeah, it's a weird mix of how they do it. Like I say, you could pick a team and there'd be two. You could pick another team. There's one. It's a bit.
Yeah. And
when you look at the entry list, there's so many of them that it's just you've got to really have a playbook.
Certainly, but the entry list has been shrunk this year.
It has.
So there are going to be around 32 bikes in each race for Moto3, with an age limit of 18. The age limit has been upped, so it's 18. Oh, is it 18 this year? It's 17 this year. Goes to 18 next year.
I believe that's correct. Yeah, I think it's 18 next year. That gives the people they change the rules, and it gives the people who would then sort of lose that ride because of age limit time to then adjust. Mm-hmm. So everyone gets on a level playing field when that law comes in.
Yes, exactly.
Rule comes in. Say law.
The law.
The law.
I am the law.
Mr. I am the law.
So after Moto3, riders, definitely if they win Moto3, but if they're kind of regular front runners, they will progress up to Moto2.
Yep.
Moto2 always used to be 600cc machines, but over the last few years, they've moved away from the 600cc Honda engine, and we're using 765. So I've written 756 here, but I think it's 765s.
Believe it's 765.
765cc 4-stroke Triumph engines.
Yes.
So the engine is the same in every single bike along these grids, but there are multiple chassis manufacturers going on here, and this really is multiple chassis manufacturers.
There's loads.
Well, there's the 4 now. We have Kalex, who are just, you're probably not going to win a championship if you're not on a Kalex.
No.
The last non-Kalex championship, Steve?
Oh.
I think, off the top of my head, it's 2012. Marc Marquez did it on a Suter.
Yeah, I had Marc Marquez in my head, but I was trying to pin the manufacturer.
Yeah, I think Marc Marquez did it on a Suter in 2012. I don't think there has been a non-KTM, non-Kalex champion since Marc Marquez.
I don't believe so.
Suter are no longer in the class. Suter were, for a long time, it was a Suter Kalex rivalry in the class, but Kalex kind of got the upper hand, and Suter managed to get the upper hand for 2012 just by getting Marc Marquez, who is, as we will see when we come onto the riders here, is just an exceptional talent who can just ride anything to a championship.
We've heard that whatever you give him, he will get the best out of.
Exactly.
So,
and he's been able to win MotoGP championships on bikes that no one else has been able to put on a podium. So
no one's come close.
Exactly. But yeah, so we have Kalex. There is then Bosco Scuro, always used to be Speed Up, became Bosco Scuro in the last year or two.
Yes.
We have MV Augusta, and we have NTS. Anyone who's a motorcycle fan and a big motorcycle fan will know of MV Augusta. Just they make quite limited runs of just really insane street bikes.
Some proper Italian exotica.
Yes, exactly that. Italian exotica. Turn Safe Search on when you're Googling Italian exotica, though.
Just be careful.
Yeah, exactly. I know what my autocorrect turns exotica to every time. And NTS are a company that I know very, very little about, but they have bikes that every now and again can perform, but it's very rare to see them racing anywhere near the pointy end.
Yeah, they're there. They do their thing. But it's a gamble.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, the NTS bike, when you look at it, it just looks like a big bike. It's wide. It's a very chunky bike. Compared to the others, look quite slim and streamlined. This one looks like it's 5 years earlier in the development cycle.
Yeah, you could pretty much pick them out. If you did a lineup, they are definitely different.
Yes.
Not massively different, but like you say, you could just it's just enough to be obvious.
Yeah, you can look at it from the front and be like, that's probably the NTS.
Yeah.
So there's around 28 bikes in each Moto2 race, and that's going to be multiple teams. In Moto2, pretty much everyone fields 2 bikes, don't they? We've got none of these weird 1 bike or 3 bike teams.
No, it's pretty standard. 2 riders, 2 bikes per team.
Yeah, and the age limit is the same in Moto2 as Moto3, and actually it's the same in MotoGP as well. In all Grand Prix classes, the age limit is going to be 18.
Yep, straight across the board. Nice and easy.
So that's the road to MotoGP. If you win Moto3, or you're a successful rider, or you just get a really good contract, you bump yourself up into Moto2. After Moto2, again, if you win Moto2, or if you are a consistent front runner, or once again, you get a really good contract, if you've got some good lawyers and a good management team behind you, you will bump up into MotoGP. Only twice in not living memory, but in the MotoGP era, at least, so 2002 onwards, have we seen a rider skip out Moto2 and come straight from Moto3 to MotoGP. It happened once with Jack Miller, after Jack Miller fought for the 2013 Moto3 title. He skipped Moto2 completely and straight into MotoGP.
That's the one.
And Jesus, did it take him time to get up to speed.
It did.
I mean,
it really did.
I still believe that it seriously hampered his chance of winning a MotoGP title. I think maybe if he'd gone through Moto2 and had that learning curve at the more traditional rate, he'd have many more wins to his name than he actually has.
Yeah, just more experience, more time on a
just a bigger machine.
Yeah, just slightly smaller, but also a slightly bigger machine than what he's used to.
Yeah.
Electronics. Far more electronics.
Although that said, at the time, there was way more electronics in Moto3 than in Moto2.
That is very true, actually.
Moto2 now is much closer to MotoGP than it used to be in the 600cc Honda era.
Yeah. And then the second one being one this year.
One Darren Binder, yes. Darren Binder has left the Moto3 class as of last year and is moving up to MotoGP. This is an example of very good contracts that have got him this ride, and very good management teams. But, his brother is a Moto3 world champion and is a MotoGP race winner, 2-time MotoGP race winner, in fact.
He is.
So there's pedigree within the family.
Yeah, there is enough skill there to warrant that ride.
Yeah, exactly. But that's as you can see, a very unusual move to be from Moto3 straight to MotoGP. Generally, you're coming through Moto2 or potentially coming across from World Superbikes. But we've seen it in the past. Guys come from World Superbikes into Moto2 before MotoGP. We see it that people go from British Superbikes, which is 1,000cc, into Moto2 before MotoGP. They come from Moto America, where there's a couple of Americans in there now. There 3 Americans, in fact, I believe, in Moto2 coming this season.
Yeah, Cam
Bobier, Sean Dillon Kelly, and Joe Roberts.
That's the one. Yeah, I'm impressed, mate. All 3.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
But they are the only 3 Americans in the paddock, so it's quite easy.
They are now, yeah.
So, Steve.
Yes.
The MotoGP riders then, my friend.
Let's go.
Let's dive into them. So we'll go through these guys by manufacturer, by team, and we'll quickly just go over each rider, who they are, what they've done in their career so far. This isn't a prediction show, Steve. We're not going to say what we're expecting of them, but I'm sure it's going to come to mind. We're going to say people are title contenders, people aren't, bloody, bloody, blah. That's just going to happen. So the first one's Honda. As we know, 25 times manufacturer title in the Premier class, and that's just the Premier class, actually. If you look at Honda's record across all classes, they've got their titles are 30, 40 titles, something like that. It's pretty bad.
It's a lot.
They've got a lot.
A hell of a lot.
It helps that they have 50% of the Moto3 grid every year.
This is true, yeah. This is very true.
So Honda then, the Repsol Honda team, the factory Honda team, the MotoGP bike.
The one.
They have, as with every other team, 2 riders.
Yep.
They have one, Marc Marquez. We've already spoken about him briefly, and we've kind of just gushed about his talent, and we do so on a regular basis.
All the time.
Gush about Marc Marquez to anyone that will listen. Even the postman knows how much I love Marc Marquez.
Poor old postman.
The postman really doesn't give a flying fuck about anything I have to say to him, Steve. But
he probably tries to avoid you. He's like, don't answer the door, Tim.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time he just puts the "sorry we missed you" note through and just delivers parcels to my neighbour rather than actually knock. Because I'm up when he's there, but he often claims I'm out. So, but they have Marc Marquez. Marc Marquez, the number 93, 8-time world champion, Steve.
Phenom.
An absolute phenom. He won the 125cc championship in 2010. In 2012, he took the Moto2 title. He probably should have taken the Moto2 title in 2011 if it wasn't for an injury, because he was very crash happy.
Yeah.
And then in 2013, 14, 16, 17, 18, and 19, he also took the MotoGP title. And his 2019 MotoGP title was arguably the most dominant title win of all time. He finished first and second in every single race bar one, which was a DNF, which would have been a win anyway if it wasn't for an electronic glitch on the bike. He scored the highest points total ever scored across a single season. This guy is dominant, but he's not been dominant for the last 2 years because his crash-happy riding style has caused him some grief.
It has, mate. Yeah, we said in the past that he was the only person that could beat Marc Marquez was going to be himself.
Yes,
and he was getting more and more crash-happy, and as he did, he started to injure his shoulder. He would regularly pop it out the joint and pop it back in.
Yeah, and it got to the point, didn't it? Was it at the end of 2019, that celebration where he won the title, and Scott Redding came and just slapped him on the back to congratulate him, and the slap on the back was enough to pop his shoulder out of joint. That's how bad that had got.
It was very, very weak. Then, unfortunately, in 2020, back crash, broke his arm.
First race of 2020, hooray.
Yep, just absolutely destroyed it. Then had the rest of the season off recouping. There was massive amounts of speculation whether he would be fit enough to return.
I think I sadly am on the record on the show as saying he will never ride a MotoGP bike.
I think we both were, because he tried to come back. He had it operated on, plated.
He was back the next week.
Yeah.
But managed to, after wrestling a 300 horsepower MotoGP bike around a track and potentially of causing himself a lot of injury, he then bent the metalwork in that arm, in the brake by opening a window at home.
Yes, yeah. Of all the things, he'd been through the pre-race physical check, which meant he had to do push-ups.
Yeah. On
this broken plated arm. Got through all this fine.
Yeah, exactly. Rode the bike, not a problem.
Yeah,
was a bit sore when I can't do this. My arm hurts a little bit. I can't do this.
Yeah. Did the Friday practice?
Yeah,
FP1.
I think he did all day Friday, and then was just like, I can't.
Yeah, it got too much, and that was a big op. We're not surprised.
Yeah, exactly. He's literally just smashed his upper arm to bits and then had it all pinned back together and the plates and stuff.
Yep. Then went home for a bit of R&R, opened the window to get a breeze, and apparently...
bent the metalwork to the point that... And maybe caused nerve damage and an infection doing so.
Yes, so that was one hell of a window.
Yeah. This is what happens, Steve, when you've got too much money. Your windows get too big. Your windows become a problem.
They do. But fast forward, he has the rest of the year off. He recoups.
Misses the first 2 rounds of 2021 as well.
He does, yep. But then comes back and is progressing steadily through the year.
And the Honda in his absence has got worse.
The
Honda in his absence has become a much worse machine than he left. And it was never a great machine. He is just a phenom.
Yeah, he just had the skill to wrestle whatever was under him.
Yeah, and it might sound weird to say that the Honda, the 25 times manufacturer champions here, wasn't a great machine. But it's one of those machines that it appears very obvious from the outside. And when you hear riders talk about it, it becomes even more obvious that the Honda ride a bike that can go fast for one particularly super talented rider.
Yeah.
If they get that super talented rider, they get their Marc Marquez, they get their Valentino Rossi, they get their Casey Stoner.
Yep.
Then, oh my God, they're unstoppable. But
yes, without it,
your average MotoGP rider, who, let's not fuck about, is still a fucking phenom.
An absolute weapon.
They just can't ride them. They need that, the 110% rider to be able to take their bike to the extreme. So without their 110% rider, the bike really went downhill.
Yep.
Honda didn't score a win in all of 2020 when he wasn't there. He comes back in 2021, misses those first 2 rounds, does manage to score 3 wins across the year. Somehow. Still, no other Honda rider scored a win in that time.
No, just that goes to show alone what he's capable of.
There was a handful of podiums from Honda riders in his absence, and then while he came back, but he's still the only one that's been able to. In fact, who's the last Honda rider to win a race that isn't Marc Marquez? Is it Cal Crutchlow or is it Danny Pedrosa?
I think it's Cal Crutchlow.
When was Cal's last win, though? Was it Argentina?
Yeah.
It was that fucking stupid race in Argentina, wasn't it?
Weird thing where Jack Miller
started on the front on the right tyres, everyone else was on the wrong tyre, but they didn't want to start the race, so they started everyone else at the back of the grid and had Jack Miller still starting from spot 1. It was very weird. If
you're new, look it up on YouTube, find it, watch the start.
I think it was 2018.
It was 2018, but it was just this weird scenario. It's so difficult to describe. You need to watch it.
I remember sitting here and we were waiting for the race to start. And it was one of the first races we'd actually sat down and watched together. And we were waiting for the race to start, and it was just like delayed. Like, what the fuck is happening? It was carnage.
No one knew.
It was absolute carnage.
Yeah, riders were wheeling bikes off the track to go and change tyres. It was just bizarre.
Marc Marquez got a penalty for stalling on the grid and then bump starting his bike and facing the wrong way. It was weird. It was a weird race, man.
It was such a just head fucker. What the hell was going on?
Yeah. So did Danny Pedrosa not win a race in 2019? Was he on the bike in 2019?
No. Retired in 20...
When did Danny Pedrosa retire? Oh, God. Danny Pedrosa, for those of you listening, is a kind of a stalwart of the Repsol Honda garage. He was there for
donkey's years.
Well over a decade.
Yeah.
Consistent race winner, consistent title challenger, but never got it across the line.
No, was also extremely crash happy. It did not bounce.
Yeah, glass bones.
Yeah, literally broke ankles, wrists, collarbones all the time.
Consistently broke something, yeah.
Was absolutely wiped out constantly, but still managed for a tiny, tiny guy to wrestle this thing about, and was like for a long time just the runner-up.
Yeah.
Every single year.
Many years he came runner-up, and there's years where you go, he was fast enough to win that title, but
absolutely.
It was just a combination of bad luck and just getting injured.
Yeah, so, yeah, that basically sums up Mr. Marquez.
Yes, quite.
Crash, come back, dominate, get injured, crash, come back, dominate.
And we are expecting him to be a title threat again.
Absolutely. When he comes back this year, because we know he's been tested, he's been at the tests, he's back from injury again after aggravating that double vision in his eye.
Yes.
Has got over that, has been at testing, and is now back for the start of this season. And if you bet against him, good luck.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? I don't think he's favourite for the title this year, but I also...
You can't write him off.
You can't write him off. He's going to be fighting for the title.
Yeah, absolutely. If he's not, he's going to be so close that he might as well be.
And the thing is, if he wins the title this year, it's not going to be a 2019 win. It's going to have been a fucking scrap. And I don't care how he wins the title, but if it's going to be a fucking scrap, mate, that's what I want to see. I want to see it go down to Valencia. I want to see it go down to the final round. I want a year as controversial as last year's Formula One season.
Oh,
that's what I want for MotoGP this year.
Let's not go that far.
So Mark Marquez's teammate, Steve,
Yes.
is one Pol Espargaro.
He certainly is.
Pol Espargaro. And actually, we should say Mark Marquez also has a brother that is riding on this grid, who we will come to in a moment. Pol Espargaro
also has a brother.
Also has a brother on the grid. They are two of the three sets of siblings that are riding on the grid this year.
It's going to get confusing.
It's going to get confusing. But Pol Espargaro, then, he rides the number 44. He was the 2013 Moto2 champ. For British fans out there, he beat Scott Redding to the 2012 Moto2 title.
He did.
Was it 2012? I've written 2013 here. I think he was the 2013 Moto2 champ.
It was, because we went to Silverstone, and that was the year he won it. That was 2013.
Because Scott Redding won that race, didn't he?
He did, yeah. We got to see him win. We were one of the few who hung around to watch the Moto2 race at the end of the day. Because for some bizarre reason, they changed the format and put MotoGP in the middle, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
And we hung around and got to see him win, which is quite nice.
That'll do the job, winning in front of the few home fans that have stayed.
The four of us.
But yes, so Pol Espargaro, 2013 champ, has got multiple podiums in MotoGP, but never taken a win.
No.
We move then on to the LCR Honda team. This is the Lucio Cecchinello racing team. They have two riders again. One of them is Alex Marquez, brother of Marc Marquez.
Yes.
Alex Marquez rides the number 73. He is the 2013 Moto3 and 2019 Moto2 champ. Quite a big span of time between those two championships.
It is a long time, 6 years in between them. So it shows, if you want to go back and listen to our show about him from 2 years ago when he was a rookie.
Did we do an Alex Marquez Welcome to the Rookies show?
I think we did.
Yeah, we would have done. Oh,
yeah.
No, I don't know if we did. I don't think we did. I don't think we were doing
No.
this in that year.
No, we probably weren't. But anywho, he's a slow burner.
Certainly a slow burn. Yeah,
it takes him a long time.
3 or 4 seasons in Moto3 to win. It took him 5 or 6 seasons in Moto2 to win. He's had a couple of podiums in MotoGP already.
He's shown signs of greatness, but it's with a brother like that.
With a brother like that, and when you're riding what was quite a shitty Honda.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple of podiums is pretty good.
That's not bad, and you're always going to live in that shadow.
Exactly.
So I would just probably tick along, do my job, take my paycheck, have a good time.
Exactly.
And just whatever I could trump my brother to at the dinner table.
And we know he lives with his brother. We know they live together. So really, if I was Alex here, I'd be like, I know I'm earning 7 figures a year, Mark, but you know what? You're earning 20 times that, so you can pay the rent.
Exactly. It's your house. You pay the bills.
You pay the rent and the Netflix subscription.
Netflix subscription. I'll get the pizza once a week.
Yeah, exactly. And these guys are hyper fit, so all they're really eating is like a small 7-inch pizza as their cheat meal.
Yeah, once a month.
Yeah, exactly.
No alcohol.
Oh, God, can you imagine? I can't.
What a dull life.
Steve. No, it's not for me, mate.
No.
The other LCR rider is one Taka Nakagami. Taka Nakagami is a 2-time Moto2 race winner. That sort of sums up his stats. He's not a bad rider, obviously. None of these guys are slow, none of these guys are bad riders, but comparing his pedigree to the 3 people we've just spoken about and many of the other riders on the grid here, he comes up a little short.
Yeah, I mean, he's a MotoGP pole sitter.
Yeah, he's taken pole position.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just never converted that to a win. Should have taken wins.
Certainly should have done, but there's something about the pressure. But we also know that he's taken a new approach to things. He's with the sports psychologist now. He's kind of trying to get through his crash-happy phase of his career.
The mindset, whatever it is that ticks in your brain that puts that underlining pressure on you to just put it in the gravel.
Exactly. He's a little bit older than most of the grid. I think he's pushing towards 30 now, so he's kind of above the average age of MotoGP riders.
Yes. So, but he's still there. He's still bloody fast.
They're all bloody fast, Steve. You don't keep a MotoGP ride throughout a season without being bloody fast.
No, that is very true. But his time will come. I'm pretty sure his time will come.
His time will certainly come, and we will see it.
But I don't think it's going to come and then reoccur.
It's not going to come and he's going to be a world champion or maybe even not a multi-race winner, but he might score a handful of podiums in his
I think so. Yeah, that first one is going to be the same for him.
Yes.
The celebration will be nuts.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
But yeah, come on, Taka.
So then we move on to Yamaha, Steve. Yamaha's our next factory here. The factory Yamaha team, which is the Monster Yamaha squad. They're kind of the blue and black bikes. They've got the big Monster M on the side.
Yep.
Pretty easy to spot.
They're hard to miss.
They have got Fabio Quartararo as their number 1 rider. He is the 2021 MotoGP champion. He rides the number 20. This guy arrived in 2019 in MotoGP on a satellite Yamaha and was from the get-go challenging Marc Marquez for race wins. Didn't win a race in his rookie season, but won a handful in his sophomore year.
Yep.
And then took the title after he'd been bumped up to the factory squad in 2021.
I had a cracking season last year. Arguably was not on the fastest bike, but whatever happens, he converted that to wins.
Exactly, because the Yamaha's a very different machine, to be fair. We haven't really discussed the differences between the machines, but the Yamaha is a very smooth handling, high corner speed bike. Compare that with something like the Ducati, which we're going to come on to next, which traditionally had terrible cornering, but oh my god, the horsepower.
It's insane. They are so fast in a straight line. You have to ride it in a certain way.
Yeah.
There's not as much corner speed, although they're working on that now.
And last year was a really good. Well, I say traditionally because the rule book has been ripped up in the last year or two.
Yeah, they've looked at their faults, realised them, adjusted the bike to suit, and make them better at cornering. And it is now just an absolute missile everywhere.
Certainly.
So, but you have to ride these bikes in a certain way. And last year, Fabio just found a way to put that Yamaha in the best possible position to get himself enough points to be world champion at the end of it.
Exactly. And he did what every person on the MotoGP grid wants to do, and that's become the MotoGP world champion.
Exactly. He's got that first one under his belt. Hopefully there's many more to come. We will have to see. But, he's certainly a title favourite for this year.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah, bet against him at your own peril.
And then his teammate is one Franco Morbidelli. Morbidelli runs the number 21, and he's a Moto2 champ and multiple MotoGP race winner.
He is. You can't miss him. Looks like Jimi Hendrix. Tim loves him.
I absolutely adore the man. I think he's one of the most attractive men that has ever graced this planet with their presence, and just so cool.
He is. He is so like cool. The embodiment of cool.
He's so cool that you kind of hate him because he's just everything you want to be in life. He's everything I want to be in life, Steve.
Yeah, to me, he looks like that person who's just like fallen out of bed, put on whatever clothes he's found on the floor, but still looks bloody cool.
And will still get a modelling contract.
Yeah, just pulls it off.
Yeah.
Just, sickening.
Yeah.
Absolutely sickening. And he's also bloody quick on a motorbike, which
exactly.
is even worse.
Which is even more annoying because he's fucking rapid. He is a multiple MotoGP race winner, as we say. He won all of those races, though, in the 2020 season.
Yes.
When he was riding, at the time, a year-old Yamaha satellite bike. And this was a weird, truncated season due to COVID and stuff, so it was a strange year anyway. But yeah, he took 3 race wins that year. Last year got injured. Was nursing an injury actually for most of his career, and last year just went, I need to get this fixed now. So missed a good chunk of the season.
It's 5 rounds, isn't he?
Yeah, but then got bumped up to the full factory team. So we haven't seen him ride this full factory bike in full fitness yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this year with him.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely going to put pressure on Fabio if Frankie starts coming out the box to do it well.
And I mean, their last year, as they were full teammates for a full year, the 2020 year, each of them won 3 races throughout the year, but Frankie actually finished that championship second.
He did.
Quartararo finished 8th, I think, that year. So
he was, not far behind, but he was behind. So we'll be interested to see this year what happens.
Yes,
certainly. So it's going to make for a great show.
It's going to be a great show, my friend.
Can't wait.
The satellite Yamaha team then is the With You Yamaha squad here.
Yes.
They have on their bike one Andrea Dovizioso. He's the 04. He's the oldest rider on the grid now. Multiple MotoGP race winner, title contender, finished runner-up to Marc Marquez over many years. That is when he was riding a Ducati, not when he was riding a Yamaha. He's just come back to the Yamaha fold. Towards the end of last year, he came back to the Yamaha on the satellite machine. But we everyone expects with he's got this professor thing about him. He's very calculated. He's never going to go out and set fastest laps, but he'll find a way to win you a race.
Yeah, he's got such a head on him that if he finds himself in a certain position, he will have the sense to read that situation and just then get the best out of it.
And you don't want to be in a last lap battle with Andrea Dovizioso because even against Marc Marquez,
race.
He comes out on top 5 times out of 6.
I mean, he is the only one to outmark Marc Marquez.
Because he's just such a good racer. He's so calculated. And as soon as you are riding in front of him, he will be analysing everything you are doing. He will know exactly where he's faster than you, and he will know exactly where to pounce to take the biggest advantage. He is just an absolute demon. But it's never come together for him. He's never taken a title because he's always, sadly, he's always been up against the aliens. He's always been up against the phenoms, the Danny Pedrosas, the Casey Stoners, the Jorge Lorenzos, the Valentino Rossis, the Marc Marquezes.
Yeah, again, Dovy's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
He's ridden for Honda, ridden for Ducati for a long time.
Ridden for Yamaha, tested in Aprilia. He's probably one of the only guys that's ridden 4 different MotoGP bikes.
I think he is. Had a year off last year because he was in retirement.
Yeah, had 13 rounds off with his retirement.
Then came back as a replacement rider. It's a very strange situation, but he's back. Whatever happens, he's back. He is a threat.
Yes.
As long as he can get to grips with this bike, which I'm sure he will.
Oh, without doubt.
He is going to be a threat. So it's nice to have him back as well.
It is nice to have him back. We'll have to see what happens, though. I was super stoked for him to come back, and then I was sort of over it when it did happen. So I'd like to see what, with a full season, with a current year machine, he can do.
My fear is he's going to come back because of that year off, and then a jump to new machinery. It's just going to be that weird situation where it just doesn't happen.
I'm sort of convinced this is his last year. I don't think he's going to be on the grid in 2023.
No.
Whether that's because we get a top rack Ratsgatlioglu, or whether there's a Ralph Fernandez that takes his ride, like there's going to be someone.
There's so much talent out there waiting to come through. And like you say, the rumours with Top Rack is that he's going to come across from World Superbikes. So there's so much going on. There's so much talent out there now. You can't afford to have a bad day.
No, and that's the sad reality, isn't it? Is actually you haven't got time to have. You haven't got time to have 6 bad races because you might be out the door.
Exactly. That's Dovi, and his teammate is one Darren Binder.
Darren Binder. This is our rookie coming up from Moto3, Darren Binder. He rides the number 40, and his record to date is 1 Moto3 race win.
That's
to be fair,
not a lot,
but it's still more race wins than most Moto3 riders get. So when you look at it that way, he's still one of the more talented. Like most people who ride Grand Prix races never win a Grand Prix race. So he's got more than most, but it was a very good contract from a very good manager that appears to have got him this ride. And there is a lot of speculation that he's not going to be the full package yet. We're yet to see. I think I have been quite critical of him. Not of him so much, but of the decision to bump him up to MotoGP. You can't be critical of him here, because if someone comes to you and goes, "This is your dream, you might not be ready, but do you want it now?" You say yes.
You're going to snap that hand off.
Exactly. So there's no blame or dislike for him here. I'm a bit critical of the powers that be and how he got here, but he could. I was quite critical of Fabio Quartararo, to be fair, arriving in 2019.
This is very true.
Darren Binder, could just appear and just be a phenom on a MotoGP bike. We don't know. We're yet to wait and see. I don't think it's going to be a great success, but I hope for his sake that it is.
Yeah, all we could do is sit and wait and see.
Yeah.
So roll on 2 weeks' time.
Oh, it's so close, Steve. It's so close.
I know.
Ducati then are our next factory here, Steve. A lot of bikes and riders to talk about here.
It's going to take a while.
Ducati, the factory squad here, the Lenovo Ducati team, they have riding their machines one Francesco Bagnaia. Pecco Bagnaia is kind of the go-to really on that one.
Pecco.
He rides the number 63. He has Moto3 wins to his name. He has a Moto2 title to his name, and he has multiple MotoGP race wins to his name. He was also a title contender last year.
He was,
albeit a distant title contender, but a title contender nonetheless. He was the only person that could take it to Fabio Quartararo consistently.
Yeah, he was the only one that really challenged him properly over the entire course of the season. And he's right down at the end.
Many people's favourites to be the title winner this year. He's one of the Valentino Rossi proteges. Actually, we should have probably said a Frankie Morbidelli for the Monster Yamaha team is also a Valentino Rossi protege.
He is, yes. I say Pecco last year had such an incredible season. But anyone to turn around this year and say he's not a title contender, you're insane. Some are saying it, but I think you're nuts.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's probably realistically, from what we've seen in testing so far, 4 guys that are going to be title favourites this year. I think the great thing about it is I think it's it's different teams all across the board. I think it's the Pecco Bagnaia, I think it's Marc Marquez, I think it's Fabio Quartararo, and I think it's Johan Mir. I think they're our 4 title protagonists for the year, and I think if all of the bikes look as good as they look, it really could be a tasty year.
It's going to be very tasty. No matter what, it's MotoGP racing.
It's going to be pretty tasty.
It's going to be good. All right. So, bet against him at your peril.
Exactly. And then his teammate, Steve.
Yes.
His teammate is one Jack Miller. He rides the number 43. This is the Australian Jack Miller who we mentioned already. He kind of was the first rider to come from Moto3 to MotoGP. It took him only a couple of years to win a race, but then it took him 5 more years to win his next 2 races.
Yeah, it took a while. It was a very slow burn. Like you say, whether that was the jump was just too quick.
And the fact he had shit machinery when he arrived in MotoGP.
To be fair, yes, he did.
A really shit CRT Honda,
yes,
which became a really shit open class Honda. He then got onto a pretty shit Ducati to start with, but then as the Ducati got better, his career really picked up.
Yeah, it shows that he stuck it out. Luckily, he's managed to keep a ride.
Yeah,
and like you said, the first few years were just on torrid machines, and then like you say, he's landed the ride with Ducati, and as that machine has progressed, so has his results.
Yes, certainly.
So it shows the talent that he has.
And you'd expect him to win at least a couple of races and grab a handful more podiums as well throughout next year.
Yeah, it would be a very strange season to not see him on the podium.
Yeah, and I suspect he'll win Phillip Island this year.
I completely agree. I'm sure he will. And I hope he does, because I want to see a shoey celebration.
Yes, quite, in front of all of the Australian fans, because that's all we want. Fuck, I can't wait for Phillip Island, Steve.
I know, I love Phillip Island. Great track. If you haven't seen it before, any of the track action, again, go and look it up on YouTube. Lukey Heights. Oh my God.
The whole thing is amazing, mate. We'll get onto the tracks anyway in a minute.
Yes.
So we move on to the next Ducati team here. This is the Pramac Satellite Squad. This is the closest of the Satellite Squads. 2 bikes here. Both of them are current year machinery. Both are GP22s. The same bikes as the factory boys here.
Yes.
Our first rider here is Jorge Martin. He rides the number 89. He was our 2018 Moto3 champ. He won Moto2 races and won a MotoGP race in his rookie season last year.
He certainly did.
He's been something quite special, and it's as long as his injury-prone nature doesn't come to bite him, you're hard to bet against him being a MotoGP champion in the next few years.
Yeah, he will be champion. Not sure he's a title contender this year.
He's certainly not a title contender this year.
I think it's just another year of learning, of growth, just on that road to becoming champion.
Yeah.
But like you say, certainly within the next few years, he will be title contender.
Yes, without a doubt.
Aye.
And then his teammate is one Johan Zarco, who rides the number 5. Johan Zarco won the 2015 and 2016 Moto2 championships and has had multiple MotoGP podiums so far in his career since 2017.
He has.
But he's not won a race yet, and this must be a constant frustration. Do you remember that first race we saw him in 2017, where he led for 6 laps and he was just breaking a gap in that very first race in Qatar on a MotoGP bike? And we were like, whoa, look at this guy.
Yeah, he's here.
And he put it in the gravel, he could crash it, which is going to happen if you're half a second faster than literally everyone else from the go.
It's his first race. We can forgive him for that.
Exactly. And he's had a ton of podiums since then. He's had podiums on Ducati. He's had front row starts on a KTM. He's had good finishes on a Honda. And now he's, podiums on the Yamaha, obviously, as I said, and now he's on the Ducati and had podiums on that as well. Actually, so he's another rider, much like Dovi, that's ridden 4 manufacturers.
Yeah, he is. He gets around. To me, probably one of the most sickening people in the entire grid.
Just good at everything.
Literally, whatever he does, you could throw something at him tomorrow that he's never seen before, but at the end of the day, he will have it mastered.
If you want a sexy Frenchman with not the best beard in the world at the moment, let's be fair.
No, he needs to sort that out.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the beard, but if you want to see a sexy Frenchman who can play piano, recite poetry, go really fast on a MotoGP bike, can also sing you a song with his acoustic guitar, and is just an all-round smoothie, Johan Zarco's your man.
He is the place to be.
Yeah.
So...
And the man that didn't even have a smartphone until he entered MotoGP.
No, he didn't.
He was just using an old Nokia.
Yeah.
He's I don't need a smartphone. What are you talking about?
A technophobe who then jumps on one of the most sophisticated motorcycles in the world, if not the most sophisticated motorcycle in the world, and just does wonders with it, but gets off and just uses the oldest phone in the world.
I'm just going to sit here and play Snake 2 for a bit.
Yeah, basically.
I've got a record attempt here. Oh, I ain't my own tail. That's annoying.
Yes, you want an email? Hang on, get my typewriter out. That kind of guy.
He's like, I can do a telegram.
Yeah. Morse code. Oh no. Sickening guy. We love him. His time will come.
And he's really good at backflips.
Yeah.
I hope. He is very known for backflips when he wins races. Did a lot of them in Moto2. He did some backflips off podiums in MotoGP, to be fair.
He has.
I'd like to see some more backflips.
I'd like to see some more backflips. He did one at the the team presentation.
I like that with the caption. I wanted to see if I could still do this.
Yeah, so what? Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Risk it. Fuck it. Why not? There's no crash mats. It'll be alright.
It's alright, I'm wearing helmet and leathers.
Yeah, obviously he didn't have his airbag activated.
Oh, good point, because that would have just gone off in the air.
Yeah.
God, that would be a weird sight, wouldn't it?
Halfway round, bang. Obviously, if you knew, the suits that these guys wear have airbags inside.
Yeah.
So if they fall off, they go off. It's just an extra bit of security. So that's what that reference is about.
Exactly. The next of the Ducati squads, then, Steve, is the VR46 Muni Ducati team. They are fielding Luca Marini, who's the number 10. He's a multiple Moto2 race winner and a Moto2 title contender, and the half-brother of team owner Valentino Rossi.
Yes. What a shadow to be in. But...
And we thought Alex Marquez had a hard time, eh?
You get the... basically the face of MotoGP.
Exactly. Arguably the greatest rider that's ever existed in MotoGP.
Literally. Many people argue with you constantly about that.
Yeah.
But he's here.
That's why I said arguably, to be fair.
Yeah, arguably. He's there. He's doing his thing. He's progressing. He's in his brother's team. He looked good at testing. So, although he looked very big in testing,
Well, he's a tall guy, man. He's brushing 6 foot, just over 6 foot, unlike most of them. Most of them are kind of 5'10"
2'6".
2'6", ideal. But yeah, he's certainly one of the taller
he's
riders.
a huge guy.
And he has to be very lanky because of it, because he just can't afford to put on the muscle mass.
No, exactly. If he bulked up, man, he'd never get around these corners.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he'd get around them, but he wouldn't go around them very fast.
No, well, he might be able to sort of roll round.
Yeah, just on his elbow.
Yeah, just like pull the bike with you. Come on. Yeah, he's there. Looks good. Has had a few glimmers in MotoGP so far. But I'm still convinced with his pedigree, there's more to come.
Yeah, I think there's more to come, and he will be on a GP22. He's going to be on a current year machine.
Yes.
His teammate then is one Marco Bezzecchi. He rides the number 72. Marco Bezzecchi is a multiple Moto2 race winner. He won multiple Moto3 races and has been a title contender in both Moto2 and Moto3.
Yes.
He is another of the Valentino Rossi proteges here, and has hair very similar to Frankie Morbidelli. He's just one of the big-haired, the hair bear bunch, we'll call this Italian contingent of riders at the moment.
Hair bear bunch. I like it.
But he's a rookie this year. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. I think he's going to be Rookie of the Year.
I think so.
And he's had quite good testing so far. We won't get into that too much. But it's going to be fun. I like him a lot. He's been a lot of fun.
Yes.
The fourth and final Ducati team then is the Gresini squad here. These are both going to be GP21s here. Marco Bezzecchi's also on GP21 as well. So there is the 5 GP22s that go to Pecco Bagnaia, Jack Miller, Jorge Martin, Johan Zarco, and Luca Marini. Marco Bezzecchi's on GP21, and then the 2 Gresini boys are both on GP21s.
They are.
The 2 of them are Enea Bastianini. He rides the number 23. He was the 2020 Moto2 champ and has had 2 MotoGP podiums to his name. Both of them came in Misano last year. There were 2 races in Misano last year, just to confuse things.
We doubled up.
Yeah, exactly.
And he dominated.
And he scored a podium in each of them, which is just a fucking result. And Enea Bastianini is someone that I have always, I personally have underrated him, I think.
I've done exactly the same.
I'm expecting a lot from him. And he's just another of the very attractive Italian men on this grid, Steve.
He is, yeah. I did see an article, I can't remember who wrote it the other day online, that was comparing him to Nicky Hayden. How people used to swoon over him.
Okay.
He's just this very handsome person with a very nice persona, and is just on top of that, just a really nice person to be around.
Yes.
And it was just like, is he the new sort of poster boy, playboy, attractive kind of...
I mean, he certainly could be. You could see Enea Bastianini jumping off a surfboard, just rolling up with his bead necklace on, rolling up to an Australian beach bar, chilling out, making a cameo on Neighbours, and then going and winning a race.
Basically.
Yeah.
All in the same day.
Yeah, exactly. His teammate then, and then Enea Bastianini is an Italian guy, and his teammate is also Italian in Fabio Di Gianantonio. He will be riding the number 49. He has got 2 Moto3 wins and 1 Moto2 win to his name, but I don't think those statistics quite do him credit.
No, he has been at the pointy end.
He's been there or thereabouts for most of his career.
He's always been at the front.
Yeah.
Whatever he has done, he has just unfortunately been pipped either through injury, number of DNFs, or crashes.
Or a couple of years riding a speed up in Moto.
Nah, that's true, yeah. the quintessential nearly man.
Yes.
So hopefully, after a rookie year and some learning, maybe, very much a maybe.
Yeah, it is a maybe, but he's certainly a talent that you're like, I don't look at him and go, well, he shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So that's and you know, if armchair expert Tim can look at you and say, you probably should be here, then you've really nailed it in life. You're doing okay.
You'll know you've got that seal of approval.
Exactly.
You're fine.
Seal. I'll send you just a little stamp. Tim's seal of approval. You can put that on your leathers if you like.
We've got one of those little crests that you have to put in wax off Amazon.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing? Now, for the love of MotoGP, wax seal on everything.
Ooh, getting one. I would literally just be going around putting wax seals and everything. Why is there a seal on the door handle?
Yeah, I'd be like, Steve, mate, I need to get a beer out of the fridge. Like, you're going to have to break the seal.
You have to get that wax seal.
Moves on to Suzuki then, Steve?
Yes.
Suzuki here. So just one team. We know it's just the one squad, the X-Star Suzuki team. And they are running Johan Mir, who's the number 36. He was the 2017 Moto3 champ and the 2020 MotoGP champ. Very nearly won the championship without winning a single race.
Oh, he nearly did the impossible. That just enigma of just being there without being there and just creeping up and just doing it.
Exactly, and then fucked us all by going and winning that race. So, and I mean, it should have been 2 wins actually across the season, but weird shit happened in Austria.
Yes.
But yes, it's just a very consistent title, and they finished third last year as well.
He did. He was still really close.
Kind of snuck up consistently into third as well. So he's there and has been there to pick up the pieces when everyone else fucks it.
Exactly. He's just so close yet so far away.
But I think he's going to be a title threat this year.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you. He's consistent enough to do just what he needs, but still be there.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Rule him out at your own peril.
Exactly. So his teammate is Alex Rins. Alex Rins rides the number 42. Alex Rins has multiple wins in all classes and has been a title threat in Moto2 and Moto3. And actually, we spoke about him as the dark horse for the title in MotoGP on a number of occasions.
He needs to get on top of this crashing.
Yeah, he needs to just stay on top of the bike.
Yeah,
really,
basically.
That's the problem there.
Stop building sandcastles in the track.
Because what was it? 5, 6, 7 DNFs last year? It was big,
something like that. All from DNFs. Very good point scoring positions.
Yeah, all from like podiums or top fives at least.
You know, it could have been a very different scenario.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this is just how we find him. Very crashy. So all we can do is hope that this year he's done something to stop that.
Because I do think on his day he's as fast, if not faster, than his teammate in Johan Mir. But Johan Mir is just such a better MotoGP rider. Sadly, he's just a better racer because he will see the limit, he'll find the limit and be like, I can't get another 10th of a second here. Whereas Alex Rins will go, I can find another 10th and then crash.
That's it. That's the game over. I don't know.
But he's fun to watch. He's been involved in some of the best race wins we've seen. That Silverstone race where he beat Marc Marquez, he beat Valentino Rossi and Cota. We've seen him take good wins and good results in the past. But we've seen him for him. We've also then seen him break his arm by crashing his push bike into the back of a van because he was too busy texting. So it really is. It's the flip of a coin is what you're going to get with Alex Rins.
He's a bit of a liability, isn't he?
Yes, aren't we all?
Yeah, that's true.
He just makes the MotoGP grid look less superhuman, which is probably quite a nice thing, actually.
That is
watching
quite
him
nice.
Make stupid mistakes and be like, he's an idiot like the rest of us.
Yeah, you've done it too.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
happy now.
But then he goes and breaks his arm and has like a week off work and is hitting the hyperbaric chamber and is back on a MotoGP bike. I break my arm and I'm like, I can't even make a cup of tea for 6 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's because they plaster us up.
That's fair.
We can't get it off.
We can't get a hyperbaric chamber, to be fair.
No, unless I stole one.
My God, imagine trying to steal a hyperbaric chamber. There's a lot of chamber there.
That is a lot. Yeah, God, you need a lorry for that.
You could probably make one more easily at work than you could steal one, to be fair.
Well, that's my day gone tomorrow. Why haven't you building this boat? Well,
you're like, I'm trying to build a chamber I can put under extreme pressure so it won't explode.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can't take a light or anything in because that would be a problem.
Well, that would be a problem, yeah. You wouldn't want to do that.
No.
Right, we're going to have a scanner on the outside. Okay, right, tomorrow.
But before tomorrow, Steve, next factory.
Next factory, who are we on to? KTM.
KTM indeed. 2 teams for KTM.
They have.
We have the Red Bull factory squad that consists of one Brad Binder, riding the number 33. He is the 2016 Moto3 champ, Moto2 contender, and two-time MotoGP race winner.
He is, and arguably the person with the biggest balls on the grid.
Yeah, BB33 does not stand for Brad Binder 33. It stands for Big Balls 33.
Big balls. This comes from a weird race, a wet race that he won on slicks.
Yeah, he just went, do you know what? I'm not going to pit for these wets. I think I can get these to the end. And he fucking did it. But oh my God, that last lap, Steve.
That was insane. So 2 laps from the end of the race, it really starts to hammer down rain. Everyone's pulling into the pits, changing the tyres, putting wets on. Binder sits there and goes, nah.
He's like, I could pull 20 seconds by not pitting right now. Can I hold 20 seconds over 2 laps? Maybe I can.
He just somehow just did it.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked, he barely got the thing around the corners.
It was scary, mate. This was Austria last year.
Yeah, Austria 2021.
Which Austria race? There was 2 last year.
I believe it was the second one.
The second one, okay.
Anywho, he brought it home just because the guys on wets were closing down the gap at an insane pace.
Man. They were 10 seconds lap faster.
Yeah, but it was just the fact that he'd had the nous and the belief that he could stay out.
And the track position, because a number of other riders also stayed out, but none of them had the track position he had to be able to just hold the lead and maintain a gap.
Keep attacking my mic tonight.
That's
Apologies, people.
This is just the show we're going to refer everyone to, so at least it's like the norm. They're going to get used to it from here, and then
we'll
just
break you in from the very start. You're just going to get a lot of beating of the mic. We're just getting very excited. That's
the word Steve first said to me when we first met. Actually, you'll get broken in. It'll be exciting. There'll be a lot of fast movements. Like that's the conversation we had, and here we are to this day, guys. So
still friends, still doing this, and still jabbering on about MotoGP.
Exactly,
drinking juice out of a Star Wars mug.
Are you still in the juice? We'll get another drink in a minute. We'll have another break in a minute, Steve, and have another drink because there's still more to talk about.
There's a lot more to talk about.
Brad Binder's teammate is one Miguel Oliveira. He's the number 88. He has got multiple race wins in Moto3, Moto2. He's got multiple MotoGP race wins. He's a title contender in the lower 2 classes as well. It hasn't quite come together for him to be a title contender in MotoGP yet, but that's sort of the KTM story.
That is kind of the KTM story.
That's Essex.
That
KTM?
was very Essex. It pops out every now and again. It's involuntary.
It just happens.
Yeah, it's like my...
Depends how much EastEnders you've been watching.
I don't watch EastEnders. But yeah, I don't know. I did get told once I sound like Danny Dyer, but I don't know where that came from.
I don't think you sound like Danny Dyer, mate.
It was, a weird situation where I was like, what?
I love Danny Dyer. I really do. I think he's the most hysterical man I've ever seen in my life. He just kills me.
Yeah. But I was like, no, absolutely not. I don't know what you've been listening to, but I do not sound like Danny Dyer. Thank you very much.
I remember a really nice clip of Danny Dyer, and it was one of his like football hooliganism documentaries. And he's I can't remember what the game was, maybe a Millwall game or something. And he's there in the crowd, and he's like, "This is one of the roughest football games I've ever been to. I am not going to lie, I am shitting it." And then the camera pans out, and there's just like 2 kids just laughing and dancing behind him.
We're going to fuck you in the car park.
It was such a great shot. I was like, oh my God, Danny Dyer, you've really tried to make this look worse than it is. I understand some football games get scary, but I feel like this one, like a midday kickoff, it's probably pretty chill, mate. Don't worry about it.
You're going to be fine. You've picked the wrong stand here, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Every stadium's got that family section.
Yeah.
You've just decided to do this really late, and that was the only ticket left. So you're next to Joe Bloggs and his 2 kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to make you look like a right mug.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
I do like Danny Dyer, but I don't sound shit all like it. Anyway.
The other KTM squad then, Steve, is the Tech 3 KTM boys. Tech 3 used to be a Yamaha satellite team.
Yes.
For 20 years or something, they worked very closely with
Yamaha. Insane
Yamaha.
partnership. It went on forever.
But then moved across 2 or 3 years ago to KTM.
2 years ago.
2 years
Three.
ago?
3
3 years ago. Is this their 4th?
Recently, they moved across to KTM.
I like that. Recently. We'll go with that. Recently, they moved across to KTM, and it looked like a bad move at the time, because KTM was a bit shit at the time.
It was.
But they got offered, they were never given full factory equipment or support with Yamaha, and they were offered this with KTM, so they just went, you know what, let's fucking do it.
Yeah,
and oh my God, did it pay off. They took their
really
first race
did.
wins because of it.
Yep.
And that was with Miguel Oliveira, actually. It took 2
It
wins
was,
for them.
yeah, it was.
But this year, Tech 3 will be running Remy Gardner, Remy Gardner, who is the number 87. He is the 2021 Moto2 World Champion.
Pedigree.
Exactly. And his teammate in MotoGP will be Raul Fernandez, who is going to be riding the number 25. He was also the teammate of Remy Gardner in Moto2 last year, taking 8 wins to be the most successful rookie Moto2 has ever seen, and only lost out by a tiny amount of points to his teammate.
4 points over the course of the season.
And 3 DNFs for Raul Fernandez is what did that.
Yes, you think 4 points, 3 DNFs, possible 75 points right there. If you're going to win all 3 races.
Exactly. You only had to finish one of them with hitting, like the top 10 and you've won the title.
Yeah, exactly. Work it out for yourselves. It's going to be just them two having their own little rekindling of last year.
Yeah.
Wherever they are on the grid during any race, it's just going to be these two duffing it out.
And they were the dominant force. Between them, they won 13 of the 18 races last year in Moto2.
They did.
They were the dominant force in Moto2. They were just unstoppable. So this is probably the best rookie lineup in MotoGP right now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's going to be very exciting to see what they do next year.
Yes.
And then we move on to Aprilia, Steve, our final manufacturer. Aprilia have just got their one team. Their one team consists of Aleix Espargaro, the number 41. Aleix Espargaro has one Moto2 podium and 2 MotoGP podiums to his name.
He does.
And it's hard, isn't it? Because Aleix Espargaro, when you look at him on paper, statistically, is probably one of the weakest riders on this grid. And yet we all sort of rate him as just fucking great. And I used to actually quite slate him a lot, but I've come around to the idea that he is fucking great, and he's almost been unfortunate in his timing with different teams. He rode a really shit Ducati. He rode what was a very good CRT Yamaha, the Open Racing Yamaha.
Yes.
And he won that CRT championship 2 years on the bounce on that bike. CRT is don't worry about it and ignore everything I'm saying about it, because it's sort of a fun side note in the history of MotoGP that made the sport what it is now, but it's also quite complicated, and we're not going to dive into that today.
No, it's not on the grid anymore, so don't worry about it. If you want to look up the history of it, certainly do.
There's some really good articles on the race, the Dash race, about it, and they sum it up quite nicely. And it was a very important thing for MotoGP to do, but it's sort of irrelevant now, so we're not going to worry about it.
It is, yeah.
But then Aleix Espargaro wrote the Suzuki when it first arrived, which, to be fair, Maverick Vinales did take a win on. But he did. Aleix Espargaro didn't even take a podium on it. It wasn't a great bike.
No, he didn't really do well under that one's wing.
And then he moved on to the Aprilia he's on now, and that was shit for years.
Yeah, well, he joined it virtually from the outset, didn't he?
Well, there was the Stefan Bradl and Bautista years.
Yeah.
And then he came into it just after that. So I guess he arrived 2017.
Yeah, they've been
2017.
Back on the grid for like 3 or 4 years before he went over.
Yes, I think it was 2017. It's the same year him and Maverick won a race in 2016, won Silverstone on the Suzuki.
That's the
both
one.
Left the factory to go on to their separate
Yeah, it's a
roles
big
next year.
switch. But he's done enough to secure that seat year on year. I mean, the work this guy puts in, dedicated.
Certainly.
And in the last couple of years, it has really started to come good.
Yes, without doubt.
So, I'm expecting better thing for him this year. But he is just an incredibly talented rider that has got the long game to sit down and work a project out.
Yes, certainly.
Which is exactly what he's done here. And he's now reaping those rewards. He's just sown a seed many years ago, kept watering it, nurturing it, and now here we are.
Can't be just accusing men of sowing their seeds, Steve.
Well, he planted a plant. You know what I mean.
And his teammate then is one Maverick Vinales, who we have just mentioned. They were teammates in
Yes.
Suzuki together. Maverick went on to have a mildly successful career at Yamaha before weirdly quitting Yamaha mid-season and joining Aprilia mid-season last year. It was a wonderful soap opera saga.
Oh, God, it was an insane thing to follow.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It provided a lot of entertainment for us at home.
Yeah, it really did.
It did. If you were in that team, you were part of his team, you would have been shaking your head, hiding out the back of the garage.
100%.
All right. If you were anything to do with his close inner circle, you were probably, I don't know, drunk.
So he'll be riding the number 12. He has got multiple MotoGP race wins.
Yes.
He's got is it a 125 or a Moto3 title?
Moto3, I believe.
It's a Moto3 title.
I believe. Don't quote me if you do know.
I think you're right. I think it was the first Moto3 title. I think he fought for the 125 title the year before, then won the Moto3 title because he was the first Moto3 race winner to win a MotoGP race.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
would that have been Jack Miller?
That would have been Miller, yeah.
Oh, but they won their first races in the same year. Does Aston come before Silverstone?
Yes.
Then it would have been Jack Miller. Maybe he's the first rider to win in Moto3, Moto2, and MotoGP.
I think he could be. Oh, God. Stats, where's Sofa Racer when you need him?
Get Sofa Racer on the show at some point, mate.
Oh, we need him in the corner.
Yeah, just all the time.
Next to correction corner, just with his little stat book on Twitter. If you don't follow him, go on Twitter, follow him, look up Sofa Racer. The stats this guy comes out with, and the stuff he comes out with is insane what he knows.
Exactly.
And well worth a follow.
Yes, certainly. Maverick Vinales is someone that has always been talked about as a title threat, but really has never come good on that talk. Like every year, you're like, "Oh, Maverick, could be Mav's year. It's going to be Mav's year. It's going to be Mav's year," and then it just never materialises across the year. And a lot of this has always been put down to almost a mental weakness.
Yeah, he's such an infuriating rider where he will dominate and crush testing.
But even the racing, when he's at his best, man, he's unstoppable.
Oh, yeah, but that's so few and far between.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and look at the years where he was on the Yamaha. He'd be in first place. Someone would get near him, and he'd just fall back 5-6 places.
Yeah, and if someone's a bit rough with him in their overtake, it knocks him out. He loses his rhythm, and it's just game over. Yeah,
he is such an infuriating rider. He's arguably one of the most talented riders on that grid.
Yes, certainly.
But he is the one, arguably again, least capable of converting that talent to wins. Yeah. So he is just one of the most infuriating people out there. You know, his teams at the end of the day that have sat and watched this unfold, where you think day one of testing, he's fastest out there.
Winter champion every year.
Yeah, absolutely. Come the races, you have absolutely no clue what he could do, what will happen, you know, how his mood's going to be.
Yeah.
It is just, oh, God, I don't know. I really hope this Aprilia partnership works out, because if it doesn't, he's gone.
That's exactly it, isn't it? This is his last chance now. Yeah,
there's nowhere
if he
to go.
fucks this as well, there's nowhere else to go.
No, absolutely not.
So that, Steve, is pretty much all of the riders, my friend.
That is.
That's the whole
a few
grid.
wild cards, but we won't know who they are till they happen.
They'll just happen. And all of these guys, to be fair, we've kind of listed through everyone's accolades up to this point, and some of them have seemed less impressive than others, but all of these guys are fucking rapid. Let's not beat around the bush here. They are all the fastest motorcycle racers on the planet are here in this group. But some are just a little bit faster than others. And that's just sort of how it works.
Yeah. Even if you take, let's say, the last 1%, the most talented people in that 1%, there is still, you're going to have to explode that 1% and just then go from...
Exactly, there's still going to be 1% of that 1% that are just going to be absolute phenoms.
Yeah, you could break it down into any multiples of multiples, and you're going to have faster riders. Yeah, they've got there because they are in that percentage, but unfortunately also in that percentage is just that person who's better than you.
Exactly, and that's just going to consistently happen. That's how competition and sport works.
Yeah, you could be the best of the best, but there's always someone better.
Yeah, and even if you are the best of the best, you're only the best of the best for a handful of years, and then someone else is better.
Yep. And soon that dog has had its day.
Exactly. And while like all the riders are fast, it's true of the bikes as well. Even the bikes that we've kind of said are a bit shit are still the fastest, best bikes in the world. Yeah. They're just not quite as good as the other fastest, best bikes in the world.
That is very true. Your average Joe couldn't ride any of these.
No, that's true. And I think it's true as well. If you got the best bike on the grid and put the weakest of these 24 riders on that bike, they're probably still not going to win races.
No.
And likewise, actually, if you get the best rider on the grid and put them on the worst bike, they're probably also not going to win races. It's quite a combination.
It is. Yeah, you need that perfect marriage.
Yes, certainly.
Of bike and rider. Yes. Without it, your options are limited.
Yeah, exactly that.
So,
right, Steve, let's take a quick break.
Let's do it.
And then when we come back, we will dive into what a race weekend looks like. And I kind of just what to expect from the spectacle that is MotoGP.
Let's do that, buddy.
All right, guys, bear with us just one moment and we will be right back with you. And thank you for bearing with us there, guys. We are back, fresh beer in hand. Oh, that one spilt a little. Oh, that's okay. That's just on the stained sofa already, Steve. We're not going to worry about that.
That's fine. I've got kids. They're very stained.
The kids or the sofas?
A bit of both.
But both, just is what it is.
Yeah, look, there's grubby hair marks everywhere. My telly, my God, my telly.
Yeah, your TV stand. I spotted that earlier. It's like, what's happened there? It looks like white paint.
It's yogurt, I would imagine, that we didn't notice until after we tidied up.
Nice. Oh, it's going to be stinky.
Yes, yeah, that will take some scrubbing tomorrow. But it will come off. It's
just not a pleasant task.
No, it's just going to grow a little bit of penicillin.
That's fine. Just lick it off. You'll be fine. Cure for COVID is there, mate.
It is, probably. Cure for many things grows in parents' house. Especially when you find like the half-eaten apple behind the sofa. It's like, oh my God.
Oh, delightful. At least it's not summer. There's not insects kicking about yet.
No, there's probably a few rodents moved in who want a home.
That's rude, mate. I'm only here for a few hours, so like
sorry.
that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Let's talk about how a race weekend works then, shall we, Steve?
Let's do it.
Okay, so generally a race weekend for MotoGP will feature Moto3, Moto2 and MotoGP, and for a few rounds across the year we have Moto E as well.
Certainly does.
And it's sort of usually in that order. It's usually Moto E, Moto 3, Moto 2, MotoGP. But sometimes that will mix up depending on weather, depending if there's another big sporting event. If there's a Formula 1 race on, they normally move the MotoGP race time so it doesn't clash with Formula 1.
Yep.
We've seen it in the past when there's been big football games on, they'll move the times around so they don't clash with other big sporting events.
Yep, that is very true.
But that's just because all eyes want to be on MotoGP because that's where the sponsorship money's at.
That certainly is correct.
So the whole race week sort of looks like this. Teams will arrive at the circuit on the Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yep.
They set up their garages, they set up their hospitality suites, they set up their motorhomes, and they just get everything ready for the weekend.
That's it. It's a big setup.
It's a big setup, and I kind of think like it would be fun to work in the paddock, but fucking hell, it would be a chore to be one of the setup breakdown teams, wouldn't it?
It just wouldn't stop. You get there early, you beat all the rush, you get everything set up. Everyone else arrives, it's all there, ready to go. But then you're the last one there as well because you've got to pack it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you're on the road to the next one. You've got to beat the buggers there.
Yeah, especially as with the European rounds and stuff when it's all like driven around in lorries, there's no flying.
Oh, God, yeah.
You see these guys that they will be done Sunday night, they pack everything down, and then they've got to drive 2,000 miles to be to the next place for Tuesday to start setting up again.
Yeah.
Like they don't have long to turn around on this stuff.
It is a fully functioning, moving, evolving circus.
Certainly, all
that
the time.
just is constantly on the buzz.
Yes,
it does not sleep.
So the Thursday sees teams and riders have press conferences. By now, everyone is here by the Thursday. Yep. So there's media talk to the crews, they talk to the teams. And if there's a really big storyline brewing, if there's a championship battle, if there's been some kind of fallout between riders or between teams, or just any controversy at all, this is where it really comes out. Everyone's focusing on it on the Thursday press conferences.
Yep, they dive in. The press have their access.
Yeah.
And it's just a free-for-all.
And the last couple of years, press has been very limited. It's been a lot of Zoom calls. There's not been a lot of press in the paddocks and stuff. No. But we're kind of expecting this to get back to some level of normality this season.
Yeah, a lot of guys are reporting on like social media, some of the reporters that we follow. They're all saying how like normal it feels this year.
Yeah.
Also how different because obviously they've got used to the Zoom not being in the same room. So, but it is getting back to normal.
Exactly. And I think the reporting's better for it being back to normal as well. Because you're seeing, there are going to be journalists that are friends with a mechanic in X team and will just go for a coffee, shoot the shit, get a couple of tidbits of information, never reveal their sources because that's not what they do. But they're going to get these tidbits of information that they share out to us. It disseminates to the general public. And then you and I talk about it, Steve. And that's basically, we know that's why they do it, just so you and I can talk about it.
Yeah, they just feed us.
Yeah.
We're going to have to give these two something to talk about. So let's get it all out there in the ether so they can pull it apart.
Exactly. And to be fair though, Steve, you've got you've made a number of friends, virtual friends with people that work within the paddock over social media and stuff. Like you are regularly chatting to a journalist or two. You're regularly chatting to people that are in the paddock. So you've managed to get some level of access just by chatting to people on social media and stuff. And you are getting sent tidbits of information from people
every now and again. Yeah, we never directly ask. It's always a personal thing. How you doing? Like I asked one of the journalists the other day, how's it feel to be back in the paddock this year? And he was like, yeah, it's great. It feels so much more normal.
Yeah.
we will ask some questions if there's something that is interesting us.
Yeah, and sometimes we either get frozen out and there's no reply, or we get people that will say, and we're obviously not going to name any names here, or and I say we, you are the one that's doing all of this. You will get replies from people, won't you, that will lead you down the garden path. They will take the horse to water and stuff, and they're not going to give you the answer, but they're going to give you everything you need to decide the answer for yourself.
That's it, because at the end of the day, although we're not in direct competition for them, we don't make any money off of this, they are. That is their job. So when are you ever going to feed a competition the full story?
Yeah, exactly.
You won't. But they give us enough that we could take away what we need.
Yeah.
We thank them for it because it's good of them to take the time out of their day to talk to us, because we are, at the end of the day, just a couple of Joes sat on the sofa.
Yeah, exactly.
So we thank them for it. But it's nice to have people that are there that we could go to that are right on the doorstep. And it's just nice to have a little bit of what feels like access to the paddock.
Yes, exactly.
Without being there.
Yes.
So we thank them for their little bits that they throw us.
Exactly. So, Steve, after the Thursday media talks, we roll around to Friday here.
Yes.
Friday is where the track action begins for all of the classes here. We have free practice 1 and free practice 2. And these are just like testing the best setups, the best tyres. The riders are learning the tracks. Teams are getting all their data together.
Yep.
But they also need to get a fast time in over. There's 3 practice sessions actually. Yes. We also have one Saturday morning. And they need to get a fast time in because the top 10 riders on the timesheets after free practice 1, 2, and 3 progress straight through to Q2. We'll get to the Q1, Q2 thing in a minute.
Yeah. This is where it all starts to get a little bit, not complicated, but intertwined.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There is also a free practice 4 session, which takes place just before the qualifying sessions. But, your fastest time in that doesn't actually count towards your qualifying position here. So this is just the final session for people to get the final prep work in. It's normally a short 20-minute session or something. Yeah. So it's just to get everything really dialed in, ready for qualifying. Or if you're happy and you're ready for qualifying, you use this to do a semi-long run for a race run. Yeah. But generally, people are going out testing their qualifying setups in this FP4 session.
Depending on how you feel. Some people use this as like a race simulation where they will test whatever they can to just improve.
But it's not quite long enough for a full race sim, is it?
No. It's just basically your last-ditch attempt to really dial in your settings before the race.
Yeah. It's 30 minutes, actually, FP4.
Yeah.
Where were we here? So FP1, FP2, and FP3 all last 45 minutes for MotoGP. Moto2 and Moto3 is a little bit less, and FP4 is 30 minutes, as I've just said. And only MotoGP has an FP4 session.
Yes.
There's no FP4 for Moto2 and Moto3.
No.
So the Saturday afternoon, we have qualifying. And this really, if you're not going to watch, if you're not the diehard fan that, you don't want to watch all the free practices and stuff, that's sort of fair enough. But if you can commit to half an hour of qualifying, or it's 45 minutes with the breaks and stuff, if you can commit to that on a Saturday, even if you go back and watch it on catch up if you can, that's really the thing that you should start watching here, because this really sets up the weekend for you.
Yeah, this is where it really does start to get real. We're going to start seeing people putting in proper flying laps. Because obviously, whatever you do now determines your group position.
Exactly. This is where things start to have real-world consequences for the rest of the race weekend.
Certainly does.
So there's 2 qualifying sessions. They are imaginatively named Q1 and Q2.
A lot of thought went into that.
They really did, yeah. Both are about 15 minutes long. Well, they're exactly 15 minutes long.
Yep.
So the fastest 10 riders from the 3 free practice sessions, that's FP1, FP2, FP3, the combined top 10 riders from those sessions qualify straight through to Q2.
Yes.
And the slowest rest of the grid will compete in Q1.
That's it.
So Q1 goes up first, and riders are competing to put in the fastest laps they can, and as you've said, that sets the grid for Sunday's race.
Yes.
Overall, the fastest rider gets pole, the slowest rider starts last across all of the sessions. But between pole position and last place, mate, the 24 bikes, they are rarely covered by more than a second.
It's not often.
It's close.
Yeah.
And it's normally very close at the pointy end, very fucking close in the middle. And then it used to drag on towards the end when we had the KTMs and Aprilias that weren't really competitive, but that's going to close up again this year.
That is now. Sometimes you'd see maybe half a second gap right down at the bottom, but now even that is becoming a gulf in time.
Yeah, there's going to be, realistically, I think this year we're going to see rounds where there will be tenths of a second between first and last.
Yep. Every now and again we're using that 4th place decimal.
Yeah.
There was talk at one point, racing was getting that close that it was going to become a thing all the time. Then it filtered out for some reason that just got a little further apart. But now there's talk after last year, because we saw it more and more often, they're only split by a couple of thousandths.
And that's the thing, isn't it? When we see it happening more and more, because we've seen periods in the past where races were won by like 0.02 of a second and stuff. And when that starts to happen consistently, they're like, we need to start putting an extra decimal point in here to measure it. And we've seen that it happened. It was measured to the second back in prehistory. And then it was measured to the tenths. It was measured to the hundredths. Now it's measured to the thousandths. And you're right, it will be measured to the 10,000ths of a second at some point.
It will soon. It's coming. These bikes are so on par. The riders are so talented. We're getting to that point where you can't really go much quicker.
Yeah.
All you could do is just get more concertina down into just one solid block.
Yeah, exactly. So over the qualifying, riders will usually get 2 to 3 fast runs. They'll be coming in, swapping bikes, swapping tyres between those runs just to make sure everything's at optimum temperatures, everything's as good as it can be so they can go out and smash it. You do see often, though, that sometimes they won't have the tyres to do this, so they'll have to kind of edit their strategies on the fly because they only get given a set number of tyres for the weekend.
That's it, yeah. You have limited numbers of options, basically.
So during this time, you will see some riders will just do one really long run for the 15-minute session, and they'll just go out and hoof it for 15 minutes, round and round, building. Valentino Rossi before the Q1, Q2 era, when it was just 45 minutes of qualifying, was a rider like this, slowly build. But then we see the Marc Marquez, the Jorge Lorenzos of the world, who will just go out and can just be on the pace, lap one, setting lap records, and just away.
Yep.
So, different riders have different strategies. Often it's not the fastest way to just do lots of laps because you're going to wear everything out. But we have seen riders, Johan Zarco is a really nice example of this. We've seen riders who are capable and have been capable in the past of just going out and putting in their fastest lap on lap 5 or 6. When everyone else is like, well, you can't. Your tyres are short. Your brake temperatures are too high. You've not got everything you need, but they're still capable of going out and doing it.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys like it. I can't think of anyone else offhand, but one warm-up lap, within 2 or 3 laps of that, when everything is working at its optimum.
The Suzukis would like it last year. They couldn't turn the tyres on very well, so they were doing longer runs. They would do 3 or 4 laps and be setting their fastest runs on lap 5 or 6.
Yep. It varies. The best way to do it is just watch it, and you'll learn who does what, and they'll do different things at different tracks depending on what they feel they could do.
Yeah, depending on how their bike affects the tyres on that specific track. It
weather conditions.
Complex. Yeah, exactly.
There's so many variables. It's hard to describe.
There's a lot of black magic involved.
Yeah, it's a hard one. The qualifying is a bit of a subject of its own. So the best way to do it is watch the racing.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll soon learn who has the what style of how they're going to get the fastest time.
Yes, exactly.
So, and even that will vary.
Exactly.
When you think you've got it worked out, suddenly someone will change and do something completely different.
You're like, oh my God, you're not supposed to do that.
And then it's a spanner in the works. Like,
and it will just screw your fantasy team completely.
Let's not start. Not after last year. This year will be better.
So there's also the 105% rule, Steve.
Yes.
This used to be the 107% rule. This is if you are more than 105%. If your fastest lap time is more than 105% of the actual pole position fastest lap time, you will not be allowed to compete. So to break that down very simply, if the fastest time was 1 minute 40 round whatever track, that's 100 seconds, your qualifying time has to be within 105 seconds or a 1 minute 45, or you are not allowed to compete.
No. And you think about that time, like 5 seconds over a minute and 40. That's not a lot.
It's not a lot of time, but Jesus, man, they never get close to it.
No.
They never get close to the 105%.
I can't remember a time where someone didn't actually qualify. There has been.
There certainly has been. I mean, Christoph Ponson came very close to not qualifying, and then there was
somehow pulled it out the bag.
Exactly. I think he actually at the time was 107% rule. If it had been 105%, he may not have qualified.
No. It's just for safety. You can't have someone
riding 5 seconds slower than everyone else. It's just not right.
No, at these speeds, it is not safe.
No, exactly. It doesn't take long for someone riding 5 seconds a lap to all of a sudden start being lapped and stuff. And it's very unusual in MotoGP to see people lapped. It's not like Formula 1. Like you're not seeing people lapped very often at all.
No, in the past, riders in MotoGP used to get lapped all the time.
I mean, there's examples of certainly in very early era motorcycle racing where the Giacomo Agostini would be laps ahead of everyone.
Yeah, literally run in circles around people.
And we'd be in like 5 or 6 minutes, but like that doesn't happen anymore.
No, not anymore.
You're not winning. Generally, to be fair, when a race is over, if everyone is done in 40 seconds behind you. If it's more than that, you're looking at like, how many times did you crash in this race?
Where the hell are you?
Yeah, exactly. Did you take a wrong turn? Like, did you get stuck at the airport? What happened here?
Been down the shops.
Yeah, exactly.
Just got a couple of carrier bags hanging off the handlebars. Where have you been?
It's a Ducati rider, and it's just packets of Marlboro flying out behind them.
That's it. Jack Miller's like filled up the barbecue box.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, what have you done? But yeah, it's rare, very rare that rule comes into effect. But it happens. And it's there for a good reason.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, if ever you hear 105% being talked about, you know what that's for.
So the qualifying then Q1. This is the riders essentially competing for 11th place down to last.
Yes.
So these are going to be this year the 14 slower riders throughout the free practice sessions here.
Yep.
So competing for 11th down to last, except for the fact the top 2 riders in Q1 don't necessarily start 11th and 12th because they get to run in Q2 against the top 10 fastest guys.
That's it. If you're the fastest 2, you get a promotion then to go instantly into qualifying 2.
And then properly compete for pole position.
That's it. And if you're one of the lucky ones, you will improve your time. And if you're quick enough, instead of finishing 11th, 12th, sometimes you can find yourself 5, 6.
Yeah,
7th.
and I mean, we've seen people put it on pole after coming
it's happened before.
Q1, to be fair. And sometimes if it's mixed conditions or the track's a bit sketchy, like actually that 15 minutes of Q1 can be a huge advantage because you can get a feel for the track and you can really know what's going on. So you can come out swinging while everyone else is trying to work out what's going on. Yeah,
there have been the odd occasion where the weather conditions have been unpredictable and it will be dry all weekend up until qualifying 1. And the guys that are in that suddenly got all this extra data because it's a bit damp.
Yeah, and they know what's going on.
Yeah, faster 2, switch on to qualifying 2, and all of a sudden these guys are well at the top just because of that extra 15 minutes track time.
Mm-hmm. And you also occasionally get this really weird thing that will happen where it'll be dry for Q1, and then by Q2 it's wet and raining. So if you look at everyone's actual lap times for qualifying, you'll see those that have qualified down 13th, 14th, 15th will be 3 or 4 seconds faster than everyone ahead of them, but it's just an artifact of how the Q1, Q2 system works.
It's just how it says. It's weird. Until you experience it and you're watching it and you can sort of fully appreciate it, it's a hard one to describe.
Yeah, certainly.
We could try, but
it's still less complicated than the Formula 1 qualifying system.
So let's not go there.
We're all good on that front.
Let's not go there.
So after qualifying, riders do their debriefs, chat to the media for a bit, go out for a bevy. Maybe they don't go out for a bevy anymore. Those days are long gone.
Yeah, they go for a run and a power bar.
Exactly. And then Sunday morning rolls round, and they have the Sunday morning warm-ups here. Moto3 goes out first, and it's just a quick warm-up. It's just get the bikes fired up, get a feel for the track, happy days. Moto2's next, then MotoGP. 20 minutes each for the warm-up sessions.
Yep.
Very easy. And then the races begin.
Here we go.
So the races generally begin, Sunday local time, 10 o'clock, maybe.
Yeah, normally 10 o'clock.
For Moto3, and then, hitting MotoGP by about midday one-ish.
Yeah.
Every race is 40 to 45 minutes long. So if you are concerned that MotoGP is a bit long, you haven't really got time to watch it, and you've managed to listen to more than 2 hours of Steve and I describing to you what MotoGP is going to be like, and by the time this show's over, this is going to be the length of 3 races.
Exactly. You can do it. You can sit through the lot.
You found time to listen to this. You got time to watch the racing.
You have.
Moto E, though, isn't as long as the rest of the series, just because battery technology, we don't have batteries that are capable of allowing a motorcycle to do racing speeds for 45 minutes. They are normally, a 6, 7, 8, 9 lap race. So
they vary depending on track length.
It will be anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes, pretty much, those races.
Yeah, they're not very long.
So because Moto3 is the slowest of the bikes, of the Moto3, Moto2, MotoGP bikes, at least the fossil fuel powered machines, they just race less laps. The race time is around the same, 40 to 45 minutes. They just do less laps. That's true of Moto2 as well. They do a few more laps than Moto3, but less laps than MotoGP, and MotoGP do the most. But, there's only usually 2, 3, 4 laps in it between the classes. It's not a huge amount.
No, there's not many. When you look at the times, you think, that's similar. But I think there's only 5 laps ever difference between the whole lot.
Yeah,
it's not much.
And it's not a huge amount, but it adds up over.
Exactly. If you were running exactly the same amount of laps, Moto3 would go on forever.
Oh, it would feel like a long race, man.
Yeah.
It would feel like a long race.
You're talking 30-lap race.
Yeah, it would.
All the time.
Yeah, well, if you were running the 30 laps or whatever, you're looking at an hour race at least for Moto3.
That's like an endurance race for these guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So as we've said, Steve, different finishing positions deliver different amount of points here. We're not going to run through all the points because I get these wrong every time and I haven't got them written down.
Nope.
But it's 25 points for a win, all the way down to 1 point for 15th.
Exactly. So.
And as we say, riders are awarded points for their finishing positions, and this goes towards the rider championships. But teams also collect points for the team championship, and manufacturers collect points as well for the manufacturers championship. There's 3 championships going on at once here. The Riders' Championship's easy. You collect all your points. Happy days. That's the end of the year. Team Championship's easy. You collect all your points. Add them all together. That's the end of the year. Manufacturers' Championship's a bit more complicated because it's only the top finishing rider for each manufacturer that collects points.
Yes.
So you'll see the Manufacturers' Championship points being far lower than the others, essentially.
Yeah. You look at the level, and all of a sudden there's a big drop down.
Yes, but that's the Riders' Championship, though, is the most prestigious of the championships.
That's the one
everyone wants. The manufacturers, the teams, they all want the Riders' Championship. Manufacturers' Championship is probably next. I'd say so. And then the Team Championship kind of tucks up at the rear. It's just fine. Everyone wants it, but no one really cares that much. They'd rather have a rider or manufacturer championship than a team championship. And there's also, to be fair, the independent rider and independent team championships
too. There is, for the satellite riders.
Yeah, anyone that's not on a full factory machine is involved in the independent rider championship, and any team that's not a full factory team is involved in the independent rider championship team.
Yep, it's all intertwined. And if you ask any team boss, they all want the Triple Crown.
Everyone wants Triple Crown. Although I guess there's an interesting point, because if you had a satellite team that did exceptionally well, Pramac is an example of a team that could potentially do this. They could win the Riders' Championship, the Team Championship. Oh, but they wouldn't get the Manufacturers' Championship because Ducati would get that. But they could then get the Independent Team Championship, so it's still a Triple Crown. Yeah.
You basically got to be a factory to get the triple.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the last time I saw someone do it.
Win the triple?
Yeah.
It was Honda 2019. Marc Marquez won everything.
That's the one, dominated the lot.
I think Jorge Lorenzo delivered like 2 or 3 points towards the manufacturer's title.
Yeah, he didn't do
Marc
much,
Marquez did a lot.
Yeah, 2019.
That's when he scored like 400 points or something mad across the season. It was ridiculous.
Absolutely incredible year.
So throughout a MotoGP weekend, Steve, there's a lot of people will be falling off their bike. There's going to be shit going wrong. Stuff's going to happen. So we have to have a way of telling riders on the track that there's maybe a hazard ahead. There's shit going down. Slow down, speed up. Do what you need to do. So we have, much like every other motorsport here, there's flags.
There is, a series of different coloured flags.
And we'll only go through the basics here. We're not going to get into all of the racing flags because there's fucking shitloads. So we're going to go through the basics.
A whole course book on them.
Yes, there's tons. And anyone who's even been on a karting day will just know that there's so many flags, even for a basic karting outing, that you're probably not going to remember them. So once you get into full championship racing here, like, it's complicated. And annoyingly, flags in different series mean different things. Different colours in Formula One mean different things to the same colours in MotoGP.
That winds me up. I think it should be a bog standard one colour for the same thing in each category.
Oh, and that's, to be fair, if everything is run by the FIA, the four-wheeled governing body, all the flags are the same, much like FIM. They're all the same, but they don't cross over between the FIM and FIA. And to be fair, in the US, IndyCar flags are different to European FIA flags because the IndyCar isn't anything to do with the FIA.
No, it's annoying. I wish it was just one across-the-board thing, so it was just universal, but it's not, so...
No, but that's part of what makes it, though, because if the flags become universal, then the rules become universal, and there's just fun things when you watch another racing series. I know when I watch, it's IndyCar, no, it's NASCAR, which is it where they just throw yellow flags, full course yellows, to just close the field up again. They're like, it's spread out too much. It's NASCAR, I think.
I think it is
They
NASCAR.
just go, you're ahead too far. Let's just yellow flag. Let's get everyone back together, and we'll go again.
Yeah, I think that is NASCAR.
It's quite novel. It's quite a fun thing, but you watch it and you're like, I've got absolutely no idea what's happening.
No, I'm very similar. The first time I watched NASCAR, they did that, or whatever series it is. I was like, what are you waving that for? There's no crash.
Yeah.
What's going on?
So there are fun different rules within different racing series across the board. I mean, Formula E as well is great for it because they've got like the boosts and shit going on.
This is true.
It's like Mario Kart, but professional racing is wonderful.
Yeah, they're all hurling banana skins at each other.
That's the next step, mate. I cannot wait. It'll become like Death Race.
Oof. Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
No, let's not go down that road. Oh my God.
So the flags then, Steve. While safety is paramount in MotoGP, and we have sadly seen in the last year a lot of loss of life in the younger classes.
Yes, we have,
so
unfortunately.
there's become even more emphasis on safety here. And, it's still a dangerous sport at the end of the day. It's dangerous.
Yeah, we can't get away from the fact that it's dangerous.
And you're not going to remove the danger, but it's safer than it was even 10 years ago, let alone 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Like,
absolutely.
The safety's come on loads. The helmets are incredible now. The leathers are just amazing. We've got these wonderful computer-controlled airbags like you spoke about. There's just so many safety things in. And even the tracks are safer now. There's so much runoff. It's not like crashing and smacking into hay bales like it once was. There's now so much runoff. There's all of these areas where riders can just slide to a stop.
That's it. It's just a nice smooth. If you want to know the differences, look up an old race.
Well, not even that. Go and watch the Isle of Man now. Like,
don't do that. It'll scare the hell out of you.
Exactly, but that's what those old circuits were like. All of
them.
them.
It is polar opposite, worlds apart of how safety has come on, even in the last 10 years.
Yeah, certainly.
It is completely different, and for a bloody good reason. But like Tim says, part of communicating that from track to rider, because there's no ship to shore radio.
No, although that might be changing. That's something they keep talking about. It keeps changing, doesn't it? There may eventually be a ship to shore radio.
Yeah. Well, what you think about that, we'll cross that bridge when it starts happening.
Yeah.
But the only way they can communicate at the minute is with a series of mental flag waving.
Yeah, exactly. Although, I don't know, they're talking about beeps in the ears and things, aren't they, coming up very soon, and lights on dashboards. But really, what we know is the flags. So we have the yellow flag, which is sort of the bog standard flag in motor racing.
That pretty much is the one you see all the time.
There's a hazard on track, slow the fuck down, be careful. If you need to stop, you need to stop. No overtaking.
Yep. That's it. Be safe. Safe.
Exactly. The opposite to that is the green flag. The green flag is the track is safe, back up the racing speed, you boys are away, let's go do this.
That's what I call the mental flag.
That's the flag that says, oh yeah, everything's okay, let's enjoy this race.
Yep, go be crazy.
Opposite to the green flag and a progression from the yellow flag is the red flag here.
That's it, yeah.
Red flags are always a bit worrying when you see it. This is a session stopped. Once a session is stopped, this can be, usually it's to do with a crash, and for one of two reasons with a crash. One of three reasons, I suppose. It's normally A, there's debris everywhere, we need to clean this shit up.
Yep.
B, it's, oh my god, this guy is down, he is hurt, there are medics in the gravel trap, we cannot have you circulating while we're dealing with this.
Yep.
Or it's someone's crashed and their machine has broken a safety fence or some form of, like, if someone else crashes in the same place, it could be really problematic. So we're going to have to stop this, we're going to have to fix this air fence, we're going to have to put this barrier back up, and then you can go again.
Yep, yeah, exactly that. Like you said, we've seen cases in the past where we've seen multiple riders fall down at exactly the same spot.
Oh my god, Austria.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Austria. My God.
But we very nearly came within inches of seeing the demise of both Valentino Rossi and Maverick Vinales.
Yeah. Bikes flying mid-air in between riders. Oh, my God, it was carnage. But yeah, stuff like that warrants a red flag. But it is always a worry when you see it. But it's only ever waved for a bloody good reason.
Yeah, it's only ever waved for a good reason.
And it is all for the safety or to help aid someone who's down, like Tim says.
Yeah, and it is that moment, though, isn't it, where as soon as you see a red flag, you're like, oh, fuck, this isn't great. And you kind of get glued to it. You're like, oh, we need to see what's happening here. This ain't okay.
You sometimes see it waved for poor weather, like all of a sudden if it's a torrential downpour.
That's
but
fair.
you could...
that's building. You see that coming. You know that's
you could guess what
that
is. All of a sudden, because sometimes you don't see these crashes. And all of a sudden you see a red flag, you're like, why? And then you see a crashed. And
you just see a bit of dust in the distance on a shot, and you're like, oh no.
Or last year and the year before, you could hear the crash because there's no crowd to drown out the noise.
Yeah.
You could hear it through the TV or your monitor, whatever you're watching it on, and you know it's bad.
Yes.
But all you can do is just, fingers crossed, that this guy just needs a little bit of time to get back on their feet, clean up the debris on the track, or remove whatever it is, replace the safety barrier, and everyone's hunky-dory.
Yeah.
You just need a bit more time. But yeah, it's always a worry when we first see that flag.
Exactly. A scarier flag, though, than the red flag, Steve, is the black flag. This only happens in because after a red flag, to be fair, we didn't say this. If a session is red flagged, if it's a qualifying or a practice session, if they can clear the debris, whatever the issue is, if they can get it fixed and get riders back on track, they will do so.
Yeah.
And they will then green flag the session and you can go again. Sometimes you're just not going to have time.
No.
If you're in a 20-minute session and this happens, you've probably not got any time left, whatever.
Yeah.
If it happens in a race, if the race is more than 75% complete, then it's officially over when the red flag is thrown. And riders take their finishing positions from the last full lap they completed.
Yes.
So, some races can finish whatever 75% of 28 laps is, and they'll just finish there. But if it's less than that, they then will have a shorter, a truncated race, which can be... In MotoGP, I think the shortest race I've seen is like 6 laps or something.
Yeah, I think we've seen one at 5, but that was on the cusp.
Okay.
Very cusp. But if it's under 75%, they will then put out an extra amount of laps. Yeah. Over 75%, that's it, job done.
Yes, exactly. And like I'm saying, we then have the black flag. The black flag is a big problemo here. Black flag is session cancelled.
Yeah.
We only see this in really severe scenarios, and those severe scenarios are pretty much only... We saw it at Silverstone when we saw that the track is not capable of handling water.
But that's a good scenario.
But that's a very good scenario to see a black flag. But generally, if you see a black flag, it sort of means someone is really fucking hurt and probably isn't going to make it off this.
You've got ambulances on the track. They need to be airlifted or whatever. The helicopter's taken off, coming down. A good one for a black flag, like I say, is weather, or the rider's okay, bikes pile into an air fence, completely wiped out the air fence, and the guys aren't going to have time.
I've never seen a scenario in which they can't repair an air fence, though, and have had to black flag a session.
I think I've seen one in the past where a bike wiped out an air fence, but you're only like 5 minutes away from the end of a...
Oh, that's just a red flag against the session, then,
that's
isn't it?
Done. But I can't remember in a race where I seen a black flag. I seen a black flag for a rider, but never the whole session.
Yeah, what colour is it for a disqualification?
Is it black with a red dot?
That's the meatball. That's pull in. You've got a problem with your bike, isn't it?
Is it a white dot then?
I don't know. I can't remember what it is.
It's black, or is it black with a cross, white cross?
Is that... Oh, that might be it, yeah.
Yeah, it's black with a white cross.
Because I think white with a red cross is the limited edition flag, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got a bit slippy out here, be careful.
This is what we mean. There's so many.
Yeah.
Look them up online. If you're curious, go online and look them up.
But look up the FIM ones.
Yes, that's
the
it.
FIA.
Yeah, make sure it's FIM, because all of a sudden you'll be looking up IndyCar flags and it won't make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you want to go and have a look and just see how many there are.
Yeah.
And then you will appreciate what these guys have to learn.
Quite.
And some of these you'll never, ever see.
They're like London cabbies learning the knowledge at this point.
Oh, my God. I feel sorry for any cabbie throughout any city, because...
there is also another flag we'll see commonly, and pretty much the last ones are the ones we'll see commonly, is the white flag. The white flag appears pretty much only if it's a flag-to-flag race. Flag-to-flag race means it's going to be wet.
Yep.
We only get these in MotoGP. It's either starting wet or starting dry, and then it could change throughout the race.
Yep.
So they'll say it's a flag-to-flag race, and that means that at some point during that race, you are allowed to pit your bike, jump on your number 2 bike, which is going to have the opposite tyres on. So if you're going out on slicks and it looks like it might rain, you can go in and get your wets. Vice versa is you start on wets, it's going to dry out, you can go in and get your slicks.
Yeah. Is it white with a red cross means it's starting to rain during the race?
That's the limited edition flag. That's the flag they'll throw down if there's oil on the track or if it's getting a bit slippery. It won't be why is it slippery. It's just it's getting slippery. But it's also pretty obvious if you're riding around. There's rain spots on your visor. That's it. And then you see that flag.
I generally associate the white flag with the red cross as it's raining.
Yeah,
because it's very rare that we will have racing if there's oil on the tracks. It's just too dangerous.
No, exactly. It would be used in that scenario if someone had just blown an engine.
Yeah, they'll wave it then until the race is stopped.
And then they'll probably red flag the session, come out, clean it, and then restart.
Yeah. Some bloke's getting all excited. Yes, I can wave my flag. Oh, it's red. Wait to wave the one with the red cross.
Yeah. But the white flag, basically, when that's shown during a race, means pit lane's open, you're allowed to come in and swap your bikes now.
Yeah.
So you're going to see that probably 3 or 4 times throughout a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we said, we're not going to dive into the rest of the flags. Instead, let's have a quick run through the track, Steve. This show is running really long. We're going to have a quick run through of the 21 tracks we're going to see throughout the year. We're just pretty much going to name them. I'm going to tell you whether I find them exciting or not. Steve might spout an opinion about them, and then that's going to bring us to the end of the show.
Fair enough.
So, We start at Qatar, Steve. This is the Losail International Circuit in Qatar. This is a Ducati-dominated track, but Yamaha have been very good successfully here in the past.
It's been a bit of a mixed bag. Not the most exciting track.
No, but it's a nice track to start the year on. It's a nice night race. The lights look cool. Everything looks great under the lights.
It's nice for that nostalgia. Not nostalgia, but just that atmosphere of the night race.
Stoked. You're like, oh my God, first race of the year.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one that does it.
Exactly.
It's always going to stick with me as the first race of the year. So it's the one that I probably get most excited for.
I think I do, unless we have a really close title, and then I'm getting excited towards the end of the year too.
Yeah, exactly. But at this point, I'm just like, come on, Qatar.
21 races is a lot, though, this year, man.
That is a lot. It's a lot of racing, but it's good because we love the racing. I just hope these guys aren't burnt out towards the end of the year.
I'm going to be burnt out towards the end of the year.
We're going to be knackered.
And all we do is sit and fucking talk about it.
Yeah, drink beer and talk.
Exactly.
And we're going
to
to be
beer,
like,
that's the problem.
That is the problem, to be fair. I still haven't finished mine. I've only got about halfway through.
That's okay. I'm on number 3 and whatever else I've fucking drunk today. Who knows?
Oh, God knows.
I lose track of. When it gets to about 5 o'clock, I'm like, I'm going to stop counting. I'm not generally drinking before 5, to be fair. Anyway, the second round of the year is going to be the Pertamina Mandalika circuit. This is in Indonesia, Steve. Brand new track. We don't really know what to expect. We know from testing that it's already a bit problems. The track might not be as good as we hoped, and there's going to be problems with accommodation, but we don't know anything more than that.
No. It's all new, all up in the air. Excited for it because it's a new track. So fingers crossed, whatever the problems are, they get them ironed out without too much controversy.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's get there, see how the rides go, and just enjoy a new track.
Exactly. So round 3 then, and let's be fair, these first 5 rounds of the year, mate, we are flying all over the fucking world to hit these.
They're here,
these
there,
5 rounds.
everywhere.
Yeah. So we go Qatar for round 1. We're in Indonesia for round 2. Round 3 is the Termas de Rio Hondo track in Argentina. We haven't seen this track in a while. There was COVID, then there was a fire. Like, this track it's been gone for the last 2 years.
Happy that we're going back after, like, say, loss of revenue from COVID. Then unfortunate fire. It's good we're going back there.
Yeah, certainly.
It really is. I think a lot of people were worried that we weren't going to get back there.
I didn't think we were going to go back.
No, I was sort of on the fence, but no, bloody good we're going back.
Yeah, it's a fun track. I really like it. Although when you play the games here, this has the hardest final corner of any circuit.
Yeah, this is nutty.
The 4th race then goes up to Circuit of the Americas in Texas, USA. So, while we all think, oh, it's all still part of the Americas, it's a fucking long way between Argentina and Texas.
Bloody is. It's not close.
No, it's a fucking long way.
We live in little old Britain, and it don't take long to get to the other side of the country.
I mean, I can literally drive from the top of the UK to the bottom of the UK in a day.
Yeah. So, in a day, we're hardly crunching on some of these states.
Well, quite in a day, you're not leaving Argentina.
No.
So, and you're certainly not driving halfway across Texas, let alone the rest of the Americas to get there.
Exactly. We don't appreciate how big the world is when you live in a country like the UK.
No, exactly.
It's small.
Round 5 then leaves the USA and we head to Autodromo Internacional do Algarve, aka Portimao in Portugal.
Awesome track. Wonderful
track. One of the visually most stunning tracks. I mean, Indonesia is looking pretty visually stunning, but I think for a race, the Algarve here, the Portimao, is just the most beautiful circuit.
Yeah, and the riders say how much they love it.
I just adore watching it, mate. If I'm watching it in Formula 1, MotoGP, it's my favourite circuit to watch. I love it.
Make sure you watch that one.
Certainly. From there, we kind of staying a bit close to home. This is the European rounds now are kind of smashing it through, which is better for the planet, really. So from Portugal, we head across the border to Jerez, Spain, for Circuito de Jerez. From there, we fly up north. I say fly. We drive up north to Le Mans, France. This is part of the famous Le Mans circuit, but it's not the endurance circuit.
No, it's not the whole lot.
I can't remember what it's called. Is it the Grand Prix circuit?
I think
it's international circuit or something.
It's one of the two.
Yeah,
Grand Prix, or I think it could be international.
Yeah, it's not the endurance circuit. Because the endurance circuit is like 9 miles. Or
That's a long one. If we went round that, it'd be a long day.
Yeah, exactly. But it uses the same. It uses the La Chapelle. It's the really famous parts of the track are used. From there, for round 8, we head to the Autodromo Internacional de Mugello, which is in Italy.
Oh, my favourite race.
One of the best, mate. Yeah. Along with Catalunya and Portimao, Mugello is just one of the best looking tracks.
It is. If you're new to it, watch it. It's
just good. And we get to see the mental Italian fans, which I hope we're not going to lose that mad contingent of now Rossi's gone.
I'm sure they'll still be as mental as ever.
From Mugello, we head back to Spain for the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. which is Barcelona. Again, a wonderful circuit, like it a lot. From there, we head sort of up north to Sachsenring, Germany, to the shortest circuit on the calendar, 2.2 miles.
It's a little one.
Marc Marquez domination. Circuit of the Americas is also Marc Marquez domination, but Marc Marquez has lost a race there due to a crash. He's never lost a race at Sachsenring. So
no, we are just waiting for some Maverick to, not saying Maverick's going to dethrone him, but we're just waiting for that one little upstart to come along and take that little pip off him.
But you can't see it happening anytime soon, can you? I mean, I feel like if Marc Marquez hasn't won a race by round 10, he will win round 10.
Oh, yeah. Always. All day long.
So from Germany, it's not far then, in the grand scheme of the world, to around 11 at the TT Circuit Assen in the Netherlands. Now, this is just, I think it was until the COVID year, was the only circuit that had been on the calendar every single year.
Yeah, the Cathedral of Speed.
Yeah, 68 years straight or something that it's had Premier Class motorcycle racing.
Yeah, awesome place. Built in that little valley bowl. It's just, if you ever get the chance to go,
I'm not sure you can call it a valley, mate. It's the Netherlands. It's pretty flat.
I don't know. I thought it was in a bowl.
No, are you thinking like Austria? That's probably
I might be thinking about Austria, yeah. They describe it as a bowl.
Where they've got actual mountains, not like a 200-metre hill.
Yeah, but there's people singing and, the Von Trapps are up there.
Just dancing about. I was going to start singing then, and I couldn't think of a single song from that film.
What, The Hills Are Alive?
Oh, there we go, the famous one.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to.
Don't do it to us.
From Assen then, Steve, we sort of head. Oh, my European geography's terrible, so I'm going to say northwest from the Netherlands to hit Finland. This is just north.
I always get them. Norway. I know Norway's the outer one.
To be fair, my geography of the kind of whole Nordic region is pretty terrible.
I'm not that good. I should know it, seeing as apparently my dad's family are from all Vikings. So,
but regardless, we head up to Kymi in Finland for a brand new circuit. Steve, this track has supposed to be a brand new circuit for the last 3 years.
It's been on the cards for a while now.
But they were just like, no, we're not going to do it in the COVID year. No, we're not going to do it in the second COVID year. Which is sort of fair enough.
Yeah, I get it.
Fans, it's the opening event. Why the fuck spend the money? We're never going to recoup the cost.
No. It's up and east.
Up and east? Northeast. I said northwest. Okay.
Yeah, Norway, Finland.
So on. You're like, I've got two countries.
I lost because Sweden, sorry. Norway, Sweden, Finland.
Okay.
There we go. We got it in the end.
There we go. Happy days.
We're not geographically challenged at all.
So we hit the Kymi. We don't know what to expect, Steve. I've got absolutely no idea. I think it's going to be wonderful, though.
I think it's going to be fabulous. I really do.
From there, we hit round 13 in Silverstone, the United Kingdom.
Yes.
This is just a very classic racing track for 4 wheels, for 2 wheels. It's a circuit that's been there forever. Fastest circuit on the calendar. Fastest average speeds across the lap. It's just fun. From there, then, for round 14, we head to the Red Bull Ring in Austria. This was once the A1 Ring. It was once the Österreich Ring.
It's had a lot of names.
Watched motorsport in the last 40 years, you've seen this circuit, but it's now under the ownership of Dietrich Mateschitz of Red Bull. It's pretty much the only race throughout the year that's thrown on deliberately at a loss. The billionaire owner of Red Bull really doesn't give a flying fuck whether he makes any money at this track or not. And in fact, Steve, it's probably a tax write-off if he doesn't.
It could be.
But it's the track that all the riders love, all the journalists love, everyone loves it because it's just no expense spared. No,
it is just a full-bore party weekend. Visually stunning again.
Oh, amazing.
The backdrop is incredible.
Is it the Alps? Is it the Alps?
It must be the Alps.
I think it's the Alps.
We'll go with the Alps.
It's visually stunning, and fucking hell does it throw up some weird racing, mate.
The
weirdest shit happens at Austria.
Yeah, if it's going to go down, it's going to happen at Austria. Yeah. And you can't predict what it will be. You could put out some algorithmic prediction generator randomizer, and even that would be wrong.
Yeah, I like the idea of an algorithmic prediction
you like
generator
that one? I had
randomizer. That's pretty good, Steve. That's a technical term.
That is. I had to make that name up on the fly, so I went for the longest thing I could pull out the air.
You're like, I actually took that name because it was just printed on the inside of the DeLorean.
Yeah, that's next to the flux capacitor.
Exactly.
I saying that. I opened the beer earlier with the out of time, whatever it is, bottle opener.
Yeah, classy.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. My bottle opener is a it's a crappy fake metal snowboard
Nice, I like
that
it.
does the job. But it's very stereotypically for me, Steve. I have a bottle opener on each of my set of keys because obviously I'm always going to have at least one set of keys on me.
Short.
And you never want to get caught short. You get in trouble if you carry a penknife around with you anywhere. But you can carry a legit bottle opener on your keys, so that's fine.
Well, they're pretty sharp, so you can do some damage with that.
Yeah, exactly. Not the bottle opener, but the keys.
Well, the keys, yeah.
Only one of them, actually. The other one's like a shitty Yale lock.
That'll do some damage.
Just stubbing someone. Anyway, that's my keys. Let's not talk about them too much. After Silverstone, after the Red Bull Ring, Steve, which is round 14, we head to round 15 at the Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli in Italy. No, it's in San Marino.
San Marino.
It's not in Italy. I'm going to change my notes so that no one... what do you call someone from San Marino?
Italian?
No, I don't think you call them Marinoese. Maybe I don't know what you call someone from San Marino.
I've never questioned it.
No, I've never questioned it either. But do people from San Marino identify as Italian? I assume probably not.
No, I would imagine not, because it's like a state, isn't it?
It's one of the 3
smallest.
Well, it's one of very few city-states in the world, and one of only 3 enclave. No, what is it called? It's not an enclave. It's one of only 3 nations that's completely encompassed by another nation in the world.
Vatican's the other one of them, isn't it?
And then Lesotho in South Africa is also one.
I can't think of the name of it. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it's not an enclave. An enclave is part of another country that's completely encompassed by a single country.
I can't think
what this is called.
I don't know what they...
It's sort of irrelevant anyway, but it's San Marino. It's sort of in Italy, but definitely not in Italy.
No.
From there, we head back to Spain, Steve. Again to Spain. Fucking hell. For Motorland Aragon. And this is just in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Someone had a bit of land somewhere and said, what should we do with this?
A bit of land that was conveniently placed within like a very similar distance between the main Spanish cities and the hubs. So it's sort of in the middle of nowhere, but everyone can get to it quite easily.
That's it. It's just like that perfect interlinked hub.
Yeah, certainly.
I was like, what should we do with this? Let's build a racetrack. And it's a pretty damn nice track.
Well, it's just the whole Motorland complex, isn't it? There's multiple racetracks. There's multiple car manufacturers are there.
There's all sorts.
It's sort of the centre of motorsport for certainly Spain, but maybe Italy. Oh, maybe Europe.
I think you could be right. There is a big hub infrastructure that's built around this whole complex. So there's a lot going on. And you see shots of it, like aerial shots from the onboards. And you think it's just going to be a track. Oh, no.
No,
they pan out.
And
it's a good-looking track. It's a big place.
It's another track that Marc Marquez is very, very good round.
Annoyingly. But that's why we love him.
So after round 16, Steve, we start back to the flyaways here.
I like how we start with the flyaways and we end with the flyaways. Just when they're knackered.
Exactly.
They've been through a lot.
Now
let's give them some jet lag.
Jet lag to really fuck it all up for everyone.
Yes.
And so this starts in round 17, Twin Ring Motegi in Japan. We haven't been there for a while, again due to COVID, so it's going to be nice to get back there. I like Twin Ring a lot.
I like the Twin Rings. It's a treat.
From Motegi, we sort of fly here. This is going to be southwest to the Chang International Circuit in Buriram, Thailand, as if the sponsor Chang didn't give it away. This track we've only seen on a couple of occasions.
Twice, I believe.
So it was a fun circuit every time, and it gave us some good battles, so it'll be fun to get back there. From Buriram, we fly southeast, down to Phillip Island, Australia, to what is potentially the greatest motorcycle racing track that has ever been built by anyone.
It rarely throws up a bad race.
I have never seen a bad race at Phillip Island. When I've watched a race at Phillip Island and gone, that was okay. But it's still one of the best races of the year. It's just that my expectation for Phillip Island is so high.
That's it. We've just seen some nutty stuff happening, We've seen just some incredible racing, some bizarre on-track antics. We've seen seagulls getting nutted.
My favourite race of all time, Steve, 2015. Was it Phillip Island?
Yeah.
Phillip Island 2015, best race I've ever watched. Absolutely incredible. It had championship drama. It had people nutting seagulls. It just had multiple manufacturers fighting for the podium. It was just an astounding race.
It was good. It's like Tim says, if it's a dull race at Phillip Island, you still watch the bloody good race.
It's still in the top 3 or 4 races of the year.
Exactly. It's never bad.
Exactly. So from Phillip Island, we kind of go back northwest again up to Malaysia. We go to the Sepang International Circuit. This is a circuit that hosted Formula 1 and MotoGP for a very long time. Just focuses MotoGP now. There's no Formula 1 there anymore. Wonderful circuit. I haven't got any complaints. I like it a lot.
No, straight down the board, just what we need.
And then we return to Europe for the final round of the year at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. This is in Valencia, and this is Spain.
Right.
This is just bullshit. Really, it's not just bullshit. And actually, we had quite a good race there last year.
We did.
But
it's
one of my least favourite tracks. It's a shit track to end the year on, and I just think Spain has too many races.
They do have a lot, but Spain is pretty much the home of MotoGP.
Well, Dorna are based in Spain.
Yeah.
Like most of the riders in MotoGP raced in Spain to get there. Like the sponsors are Spanish. Like it really is the home of MotoGP.
It is, but Valencia is one of those tracks where you never quite know what you're going to get. You know, if the championship is boiling down to the last race, it will be a good race. Yeah. But if it's not and it's wrapped up 2 or 3 rounds before, chances are it's going to be pretty dull.
Yeah.
And like Tim says, we go to Spain a lot. And if we're going to ditch one, we're both in agreement. We'd probably ditch Valencia.
There's 5 rounds on the Iberian Peninsula this year, man.
There's a lot. So, Spain, don't be so greedy.
And it's Valencia that can go. The other Spanish circuits are all great.
They are better.
Portimao is amazing for the other Iberian track, but nah, mate, just Valencia. I'd rather have a 20-round season, and maybe we could switch Phillip Island and Sepang, and we can just end at Phillip Island.
If we ended at Phillip Island every year, it would be phenomenal. Can you imagine the title decider?
Imagine a championship battle at Phillip Island, Steve. Oh, it would be the one, mate.
The overtakes, the burnouts we would see across the top of Lukey Heights.
Oof. One
It'd be like
waving.
Yeah, Marco Melandri again. Hey, just smoking that back tyre. One-handed.
That's it.
Balls. Big balls.
And that's how the season ends, Steve. By the end of the season, teams, riders, manufacturers with the most points, they go for their little gala, they take their trophy, they pin their name onto the history books, and then they get ready to go again next year.
And we get very disappointed for a long time, then we're very happy again.
All we do is bitch and moan about it that there's not racing. Although I normally afterwards, I'm like, I'm happy to have a couple of weeks of chilling, and then I start to get excited for it again.
And you can guarantee all the riders and everyone that's just been at all those flyaway races.
21 rounds this year, man. It's going to be a long slog.
But this is what we love. This is why we're here. So we will go with it. We will offer them all the moral support and cups of tea we can offer them to get them through this.
That's very British, isn't it?
Yeah, a hearty handshake if we ever bump into you. Thank you for entertaining us. We love you.
Yeah.
Have a cup of tea.
That's exactly it. So, guys, first race of the year takes place March the 6th at Qatar. That's the Sunday. If you want to watch the full weekend, it starts March 4th. You can watch, if you're in the UK, it's on BT Sport.
Yep.
Elsewhere in the world, honestly, I ain't got a fucking clue how you guys watch it.
But
it is all on MotoGP Video Pass. It's all there if you want to drop your £200 a year to get that.
I'm not.
I'm not. I'm just going to use your BT Sport login again.
All right.
That's kind of established, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's already saved on my phone. We don't worry about that. If you guys want to know anything more about MotoGP, though, there's a number of films. There's the Ewan McGregor Faster and Fastest films. There's the Brad Pitt hitting the apex. All 3 of those documentaries. And in just a month's time, Steve, we've got the Amazon series named MotoGP Unlimited, which I actually think is quite a disappointing name. I thought it was going to be named something really badass, but it's named MotoGP Unlimited. That comes out in about a month after the racing starts, which is quite a disappointment because I kind of want it as the foreplay to the racing. But fine, we'll get into the racing, we'll do the foreplay afterwards, whatever. Whatever floats your boat.
That's premiering tonight and tomorrow night.
Yes, but only for a select few people at certain galas across Europe. Yes,
we know the FIM gala or conferences are happening now, wherever they are in the world. But yeah, a few people have been invited to watch it. The rest of us minions will have to wait.
Yeah, for some reason, Steve, we haven't been invited.
I know, I'm very disappointed about this.
I'm not impressed.
I have my suit ready.
I was just going to turn up in jeans and t-shirt.
I use the word suit very loosely. It is trainers, jeans, and Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, I like it. That's my kind of suit, my friend.
But you got to have a blazer over the top.
Oh, classy. A Hawaiian blazer or just a standard?
Standard blazer.
Okay.
Too much otherwise. No tie.
I think I'd go standard shirt, Hawaiian blazer.
Yeah, we could. I see where we're going.
Oh, no. Maybe one of us should wear a Hawaiian blazer and the other Hawaiian trousers.
Oh, there it is.
That could be the one.
That is the one. Right.
There we go. That's what Steve and I are going to be doing. We're going to be breaking into some premiere for the MotoGP Unlimited series. But the rest of you, and sadly actually us, are going to have to wait until next month to be able to watch this show.
That's it. But we are just minions, so.
We are just minions. Guys, if you liked what you heard today, keep listening. If you really want to get involved with the show, we have a fantasy league that will be starting up again. There will be real prizes for that. Again, the actual prizes for last year's will be out very soon. But there will be real prizes going on. We haven't really worked out what the prizes are going to be yet. We'll announce them very soon. But as soon as we can set up the fantasy league on MotoGP.com, we will be doing that. So come over, join the fantasy league. It's just a fun way to keep the sport fun, really.
It was good last year.
It was a lot of fun last year. We had a lot of entrants. It was fun.
Far more than I thought we'd get.
Yeah, 60-odd entrants last year, so it grew a lot. So hopefully we'll grow that again this year, Steve.
Aye, it's definitely a grower, not a shower.
That's what I tell all the ladies, and then they're like, well, it's showing. I'm like, yeah, okay. It's just a disappointment, I'm sorry. Anyway, guys, if you've got anything at all you want to say to us, you have any questions, any comments at all, you can reach us on.
We are For the Love of MotoGP. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, or come and join the Facebook community. That's done really well this week. We've had a lot of people join.
People joined this week, and you'll be able to come and chat your fantasy league teams in there as well.
Come and get involved. There's always people over there. The conversation's flowing. Nice group of people. Just come and chat.
Yeah, that's the FTLO MotoGP community. I think it's actually For Love of the MotoGP
Yeah,
community.
it is For the Love of MotoGP community. Come and look us up. We're there. Answer the questions. We'll let you in. Your name, it will probably be on the list.
Not that list, though. There's not going to be anyone knocking on your door.
No, not unless you've got pots of money and we want some. Or if you want to get in touch, guys, you want to drop us an email, we are For the Love of MotoGP@gmail.com.
That was the one, Steve. You nailed it. I'm impressed, mate. So, guys, thank you very much for listening to this show. It's been a long one. If you're new to MotoGP, I hope we've told you everything you need. If not, get in touch with us, ask us the questions, ask the groups the questions. We will be answering them. And, if you've liked what you heard, stick with us through 2022. We're bringing you weekly shows throughout the year. And starting next week is going to be just a news show, the last couple of weeks of news. And then we're going to preview Qatar. And then we're just into we're ready for the racing, Steve.
I'm ready.
Exciting, man. I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Yeah, me too.
So, guys, thank you all very, very much for listening. I know it's been a long one, so thank you for persevering with us. And if you haven't got this far, that's up to you, innit? Like, that's fine. I probably wouldn't listen to almost 3 hours of me and Steve chatting shit either. So that's all good. Stay safe. Look after each other. We'll speak to you next week, guys. Goodbye.
Take care, guys.
Music is by Andrew Greenwood. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.